Danfo offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshe traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danfo, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danfo, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danfo, Africa. To learn more, visit danfo.africa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Donnie Samir, search for Huru. I want to apologize about being tardy. I've been ripping and running all day today in this Atlanta heat, and I finally got back to the house maybe 15, 20 minutes ago. I had to take a shower, freshen up a little bit before we went live. So I want to apologize about my tardiness. So please forgive me. But hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. Got a couple of announcements. Announcement number one, we are rolling to Nigeria. August 2nd to the 11th. August 2nd to the 11th, we are rolling to Nigeria. If you're interested in joining us, please visit Danfo. That's DANFO Africa. Again, please visit Danfo. That's DANFO Africa to learn more. Would love to host you all on one of our many excursions. And I appreciate everyone who's came in the past, who has used Danfo to, and for a lot of you all who've traveled with me, it's been your first time going to Africa. So I want to thank you all for, using us for your first experience on the continent of Africa. So that means a lot, because there's other tour operators out there. Give me a second, please. Sorry about that. There are other tour operators out there who you guys could use, and then also too, you guys could, if you want to, just go on your own. But I appreciate you guys utilizing our service and rolling with us. It really means a lot, and I want to thank you all. And we're going to continue and keep it going. So Nigerian August, Zanzibar in September, Kenya September as well. Then we are rolling to Ghana and Ivory Coast in November, as well as Sierra Leone in November as well, and the Benin Republic in January. So if you're interested in joining, please visit Danfo. That's DANFO Africa to learn more. Yeah, let's jump into today's topic. I had no clue. Now I knew Nigeria contributed towards the ANC and towards fighting against apartheid, but I had no clue about that there was a term called the Mandela tax. I had absolutely no clue. So I kind of want to go down the rabbit hole with you all on the Mandela tax. So we're gonna That's what we're gonna do today. Then I put the link in the chat room, um, so you guys can add to the convo if you have any questions, um, or if you guys just want to add to the convo, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, let's. There was something on X that came up about the Mandela tax, and then but we're gonna look at this right here, right now. This one clip on YouTube. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
1980s, while the world debated how to end apartheid, Nigeria was already at war, not with bullets, but with money. Billions were spent in silence. This is the story of the Mandela tax. In 1981, President Shehu Shagari introduced a controversial levy to 3% of every civil servant's salary to fund South Africa's liberation. Under President Ibrahim Babangida, this policy deepened, transforming into a national cause. Citizens called it the Mandela tax, a tribute to a man imprisoned thousands of miles away. A quiet sacrifice made every payday. But this wasn't just pocket change. Nigeria's commitment was immense. When you compare the financial aid provided by African nations to the anti-apartheid movement, the numbers are staggering. Tanzania contributed around $1 billion and Zambia $800 million, Nigeria an estimated $15 billion, a colossal sum, funding a distant fight for freedom. It was a war financed not just by the state, but by ordinary people, whose contributions echoed far beyond their borders. But Nigeria didn't just write checks, it trained freedom fighters. Deep in the heart of the country, away from the world's gaze. A different kind of war was being waged. From Benu's Camp Ugba to hidden barracks in Makudi, Nigerian officers trained members of the African National Congress. They taught them sabotage, survival skills, and intelligence tactics. These weren't just soldiers, they were mentors, shaping the very resistance that would challenge the apartheid regime. Colonel Dimka, a name once whispered in Nigerian military corridors, oversaw these covert operations. The funding was managed through secret channels, off the official books, ensuring plausible deniability on the international stage. Even Winnie Mandela, a global icon of the struggle, reportedly visited Lagos in disguise, coordinating efforts and bearing witness to Nigeria's clandestine support. By 1987, Nigeria was spending over $1 million every single month, all of it untraceable, all of it dedicated to one cause, freedom. The world saw protests and sanctions. But behind the scenes, Nigeria's financial and military muscle was a critical lifeline. In his own words after his release, Nelson Mandela acknowledged this profound solidarity, stating, "Nigeria put its money where its mouth was, but every act of generosity leaves a scar." As Nigeria poured its wealth into South Africa's freedom, her own economy began to bleed. The oil boom of the 70s was a distant memory, and the nation grappled with a crippling debt crisis. Inflation soared, the value of salaries plummeted, and resentment started to brew. On the streets of Lagos and other cities, the mood was tense. Many Nigerians began to ask a painful question: why were they paying the Mandela tax while their own children were going hungry? Why sacrifice for a neighbor's house when their own was on fire? History remembers the heroes of freedom, the icons who stood against injustice, but few remember the nations that bankrolled that freedom, often at the cost of their own stability and prosperity. This was Nigeria's secret war, the war they called the Mandela tax. Thank you for joining us on this journey into a hidden chapter of history. If you found this story powerful, please like, share, and subscribe for more untold histories. We'll see you in the next chronicle.
expel African immigrants from the country, turning them away at hospitals and raiding businesses. I believe that a lot of what is wrong is the ignorance of true African history. So now I will tell you the true forgotten history of how Nigeria helped South Africa be free when most of the world turned away. Pay attention. In 1960, Nigeria gained independence. Within a year, it committed itself to ending apartheid in South Africa. When 69 unarmed black protesters were massacred at Sharpeville, Prime Minister of Nigeria, Tafawa Balewa, lobbied South Africa out of the Commonwealth and became the first foreign leader to put cash directly into the ANC's hands. Then, throughout the 70s and 80s, Nigeria sent the ANC and PAC an estimated $5 million a year. It became law in Nigeria that every Nigerian civil servant had 2% of their salary taken and given to the South African Relief Fund. Nigerian students were also mandated to give up lunches to send that food to South African children. This was all called the Mandela tax and raised $10.5 million in only 6 months. I know because I paid it. I was a child in 1980s Lagos. We all paid it, gladly. In total, Nigeria spent $61 billion on the anti-apartheid struggle. Not million, billion with a B. Nigeria spent more to help South Africa than any country on earth. Nigeria didn't stop there. They then weaponized their most valuable resource of the era, oil. Nigeria refused to sell a single barrel to apartheid South Africa and lost an estimated $41 billion in revenue. This means in total, Nigeria gave over $100 billion to South Africa for free. And we did this because they are our brothers, and brothers stick together. The UK, US, France, Germany, the Dutch, they didn't spend that. For most of apartheid's existence, the West supported it, while Nigeria chaired the UN Special Committee against apartheid for over 2 decades. When South African students fled the Soweto uprising, where an estimated 700 died, Nigeria took many of them in and gave them free education and a future. When the apartheid regime confiscated South African activist passports to ground them, Nigeria issued over 300 passports to them and made them honorary Nigerians so they could travel and continue fighting to be free. Oh, and the young Thabo Mbeki, the man who would one day be South Africa's president, he was housed in Lagos as the ANC's official representative. So I ask South Africans, who is your real enemy and who benefits from you fighting your brothers who fought for you? Like, follow, and share and comment podcast to discover the true Africa.
Now, this is the response from a South African. So the argument is, one of the arguments are on the anti-xenophobia side, when as South Africans were experiencing during apartheid, Africans came, answered the call, and helped fight against apartheid. The South African argument is, well, you guys are here selling dope, getting into trouble, not contributing, so get the hell out. We got a caller. Go ahead, Cashler. Unmute yourself, Cashler.
Can I be heard?
Yeah, it's like you're on, I don't know, speakerphone or on your Obama Bluetooth. You definitely on Obama Bluetooth.
For sure.
Yeah, you're definitely on Obama Bluetooth.
All right, how is it now?
Sounds a whole lot better. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I've been following this situation. All I gotta say is, I think this is just pure ignorance. I think South Africa kind of like looks over to America and see everything we doing, good or bad, and they kind of trying to mimic it in the same way over there. So you can compare this situation to FBA in America, how we're talking about immigrants on issue and stuff like that. However, I'm not ready to give up on South Africa. I feel like the legacy of Shaka Zulu is something we need to protect, and we need to work with our people. They need help. That's all I gotta say.
All right, go ahead, Kidola.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. Uh, this history is a little bit new to me, but I know we did a lot. I didn't know much about the money aspect, but I know about the music aspect from people like somebody like Sonu Okosu who was singing that. We were like a kids there anyway. The first time I see what actually was going on in South Africa was late 80s. Talk about 87 when I saw them on TV. Or the other people where they were analyzing them from the top of a truck. But you see, I blame Nigeria for extending help to some of these African countries. During the time of our oil boom, we were giving a lot of money out for borrowing, for anything, and giving a lot of money out to other African countries. We're employing lecturers from Kenya, Ghana, making them citizens of Nigeria and everything. But what Nigeria actually gained for those helping of these African countries? Let me go down to South Africa. South Africa, blacks, they are what called perpetual liars. They pretend a lot. I wish this help never actually happened. I don't like them. I don't think I will ever like them. And I wish Nigeria never had to spend those amount of money. I hope Nigeria could get itself right again. Even our closed door neighbors now, they're talking trash about us. Where the real Pan-Africanism? Not by saying by mouth. We follow with money. Theory today, go to Nigeria. You see all kind of nationality there. What should I be bothered when you don't take the shit away from my mouth? I'm not taking no money from you. You do your own job. You're not my finance minister. You're not the one control my economy. You try to get what to eat. What that would be my problem? I'm not saying they have right to deport whoever they want to deport. Heavy right. But the government have to do that. The police have to take care of that. But by them analyzing without no feeling, a fellow black man, I call them Africans. You Africans, those are decorated word. That means to say you don't see yourself like them. And it's very painful. I don't think I will ever like them in my life. Thank you, Dennis.
Welcome. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I've completely changed my entire view on people. I don't think they really have taken into account what the entire black diaspora and world did for them, and for them to go ahead and spit in everybody's face and treat people the way they have, just complete mob rule. It looks like a lynch mob. That they're just sending lynch mobs, government sanctioned, police standing by. And they disregard the history. I appreciate you for giving me the history of that Mandela tax, but there were other regions of the world like the Caribbean and other places that contributed too. Black people from everywhere, the United States. Mandela came and visited African Americans and visited districts and everything just because of the overwhelming support that he received. And now these people want to kick out all foreigners. They want to treat everybody this way. They've completely forgotten who they are. And when, as I've said before, when the richest man in the world now is a white man from South Africa who has very racist views. When he goes back and tries to take over that place, and they're going to cry for help from everybody else to come back and help them again, they will receive no help. They won't deserve it. I heard the brother before say that he's not giving up on South Africa. I have. They the hell with them. They can do what they can do whatever they want with South Africa. I truly feel that way. They need to understand that this whole thing with people cheering for Mexico in the World Cup was not a small thing. It is the black diaspora just completely turning on a place because of their actions. They need to be held accountable for it, and I don't think there's any way back for them. I truly don't.
No, go ahead, CD.
Hey, Don, this is everybody. Uh, Yeah, so it's just frustrating. This is, South Africa. If you haven't been to South Africa, there are things that you experience in South Africa you will never experience in any African country. This is the only African country where you will hear being black, yellow, green, and white. Any part of other African country that you go, you will never hear being black or this person is yellow or is green. That's how lost the South Africans are. They are the worst type of African that you will ever deal with, right? They all these Zulu people that are dancing, they don't even know their culture. They tend to glorify certain people they call yellow people or white people. I don't know how they classify them. They don't know their own history and what it did to these Africans that were living in South Africa. Not only telling them to leave their country, they destroy their businesses that they have built for over 20, 30 years. They when they ransack their businesses, destroy their properties. There's this South African lady was even crying that when they kill her husband is Nigerian. This guy built everything from the grassroots. They had 3 kids. And the guy that killed this Nigerian guy, there was no justice. They let the guy free, right? Not only Mandela tax that Nigerian was collecting, they were even reserving seats for them in schools, right? Kicking Nigerian kid from school and to reserve seat for South African kid, right? Everybody helped these people, right? But they don't even know their history. When if someone like Mary Makiba, I don't know if she's alive or not. She was carrying Guinean passport. She lived in Guinea for years. She lived along with Kwame Nkrumah in Guinea, in Dalaba for years. Right? Everybody helped these people. Now know what they did. Things that these people built with their sweat. Right? People travel, people go everywhere that you go. It's just some sort of jealousy that they're taking our women, that they're taking our job. Okay, now you have a black job to play soccer because that's the only thing you guys can do. You can't even play soccer. You know, it's a disgrace. It's an embarrassment, right? Before, if you look at South Africa or rugby team, they have white people playing there. Yeah, they perform very well. Now, for them to play soccer, the all black player, they can't even move, right? This is a disgrace. But the whole thing is the government is somehow involved in this because they have no idea how to create jobs for their population. All they do is to put the blame on other Africans, you know. But this is unrepairable. There's this wound is no way that will be repaired against South Africa. We'll see. And I'm telling you, Elon Musk will going to teach these people a lesson. They're going to deal with these black people, right? And then even what Trump said that they were killing West South African. Who knows? Because these people looking at sound like maybe there's a truth into that. We don't know, right? People because President United States President cannot come up with this kind of allegation if there's no proof, right? If they're killing black people like this, going ransacking their businesses, looting their property, kicking kids out of school, what is this people can do, right? And the whole thing is, we, have you heard about any country being West Africa? For the fact that they call them South Africa, that's not even country. That's how,
CD 30,
that's
CD
how
30,
lost the people
30,
are.
CD 30, 30 seconds. I got to pass the mic.
Yeah, that's how lost the people are. They have so many countries in South Africa. We have Zimbabwe, we have Lesotho, we have Burundi, or Malawi. All
Eswatini.
these countries, they have names,
Yeah.
But it's sad, man. It is. It's
Okay, let me pass the
frustrating.
mic. Go ahead, Elvis.
All right, thank you, Donis. Hello to you all. So it's a great day, man. I'm happy to be able to join you guys. It's been a busy week for me. But shout out to Haiti. We in the Black diaspora are all supporting Haiti. They're playing right now. They're playing Scotland. So shout out to Haiti. Send your support out to Haiti. Let me just say this with the South Africans, right? South Africa, I want to give them grace because Certain things are phenomenological. People come to certain logical conclusion based on the things that they've experienced on a certain topic, like this issue about immigration in their country. So I guess they've experienced certain things that made them come to this conclusion that the immigrants have to go. But my question here is when the Indians, when the Russians, when they come to South Africa, do they take advantage of that healthcare system? Do they get some of that, social safety programs that the South Africans are desperately trying to protect from other Africans? I think that the simple answer, I think we all know, is probably yes, right? But I think perhaps they've come to the logical conclusion that these people bring value. Maybe they're investors, they're bringing skill trades, they're bringing things, and most likely they live separate from them. So it's like out of sight, out of mind, right? Or out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. These people are not in their neighborhoods. So maybe the Africans tend to live in close proximity to the South Africans, maybe those who are of the lower class living in the same communities, and they see them maybe having some upward mobility through business and whatever enterprise that they're engaging in. But I just want to understand why the South Africans are not protesting against the power structure that is keeping them unemployed, that is keeping them, at a base level rather than elevating them in their own country where they're the vast majority of the people. I want to understand why they're not tackling that point, that pressure point, because that's the real problem there. The Africans are a very small minority, even compared to other minorities within South Africa, the West Africans in particular. So for me, I don't want to be too harsh on them. I think what they did at the World Cup was embarrassing. I think with all the resources that they have a great, domestic league in South Africa. They have some brilliant individual players, but I don't know what really happened. I know Mexico have a altitude stadium, perhaps that play a part, but South Africa has been a relatively decent footballing team over the years. So that was just shocking and embarrassing. But lastly, before I pass the mic, I'll say this, right? When it comes to politics in South Africa, there was this whole thing with Joseph Zuma and the Guptas, the Indian, there's this almost aristocratic Indian family that was really controlling Zuma. They had given millions of rand to do some renovation work on his home in, I think they call it Ingala or whatever, in Zululand. And it was a big scandal that he had to resign because of that scandal. So they literally have outsiders who are not quote unquote native South African controlling their politicians. They're not protesting against that. They have white European settlers who are controlling everything. They're not protesting against that. Those people are leaving your labor and seeking other African labor in your country. You're not protesting against that. The ANC has been in power continuously for almost maybe 20 to 30 years. They're not serving you adequately and you're not protesting against that. But the little African man that has a shop on the corner, you're gonna attack him because a pregnant woman has to go to the hospital, and based on your constitution and the way your laws are set up, her care is going to be free. You're going to be against her because she got free health care and she's taking advantage of the system that you suffer for. I just don't understand it, man. So maybe smarter people can explain it to me, but I'll pass the mic, Dennis.
No, go ahead, Emoji.
Hi, Dinus. Thanks for this topic. I wasn't aware of that the Mandela tax. I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm pretty much done with South Africa. They had already torn their pants with me when they attacked the Zulu social club and crew in New Orleans. It's just a lack of commitment to understanding their place in Black history and certainly African history. And I think they're just looking for scapegoats. They need to hold their governments accountable. I worked for some of the largest consulting firms and defense contractors in the world. And at the helm of a lot of innovation is Nigerians. And the drive and determination is something that I believe the South Africans could learn from. Um, and they need to do a better job of understanding who their brothers and sisters are and even recognizing them as brothers and sisters. I feel like they should turn some of this anger toward the white South Africans who are, living their best lives on land that doesn't belong to them. So they're looking for scapegoats. They'll miss the migrants because there won't be anyone there for whites to attack other than them. So let's see how they get themselves out of just remaining at the bottom. That's all I have to say.
All right, guys, hit the like button and please hit that like button if you want to call in and add to the convo. You're more than welcome to call in and add to the convo. Let me play this clip real quick. This came across my feed on X earlier today. Hold on.
I hate for tell you the truth. I hate foreigners. I hate foreigners and the government doing nothing. Tell you the truth.
It's the same way. It's the same way FBA hate the Africans, man. It's
I know exactly where that comes from. I know exactly where that comes from.
What is that? A skit? Is it a movie? What is it? It can't be real, man. That shit looks fake.
That's real. No, that's real. I know exactly where that comes from. That comes from the same place that issues that the leader there, Jacinta, has her issues. Her issue is that she was filmed a couple of years ago saying that she would never date a South African man and she only liked Nigerian men, and she spent her whole youth taking Nigerian cock, basically.
Oh, come on out.
I'm just telling you what I'm not okay. I'll say it differently. Sleeping with Nigerian men, okay, and then when things don't work out with her, with sleeping with Nigerian men, and then when she started revealing that once this was exposed, that her mother had a Nigerian was sleeping with Nigerian men, and she had a Nigerian stepdaddy who she didn't like. It all started to make sense. This is just a woman who went up there, wasted her time, was used and abused sexually, and now she wants to see all foreigners gone.
That woman in particular, or the leader of the movement?
That woman in particular, the leader of the movement, Jacinta.
Okay.
Specifically Jacinta. She that is what it is. And so I see a lot. I'm seeing a pattern that what keeps coming up is Nigerian men are taking their women.
Okay, I would say something on that regard, right?
It keeps coming up, and what I'm gathering is that these Nigerian men are over there in South Africa putting in that work, go running through these South African women with their big behinds and everything, and then when things don't work out, now there's this backlash because the vitriol that's geared towards Nigerians in particular is just fascinating to me.
Alan, let me come here quickly, please.
Mm-hmm.
So even in Nigeria, right? I know Dynasties are Yoruba, so this goes to him too, because I'm sure he probably engages in this kind of behavior. But there's something called a Yoruba demon, right? And it's not that is already known. So you have these Yoruba guys who are, the attractive guys. Yoruba demon Dynasties. We all know.
I'm not a Yoruba demon.
So these guys will just, get the girls and play with their hearts, right? And they frustrate them, and they are just, wreaking havoc in places like Lagos and other places in Nigeria. So these guys are heartbreakers, man. So they probably took some of that Yoruba demonness, to South Africa, and these women are just frustrated with them. But I heard that there's more evil in Nigeria than Yoruba, so maybe it's the evil doing it. But these guys are just toying with women's hearts, and when a woman's scorned, they will do anything. They will get their brothers, they will get their cousins, they will say all kinds of derogatory things about you to get their people to hate you and met out violence against you. So partially it's because of that. I think you're right. But these guys have to control their bola, as they call it in Nigeria, and be more sexually responsible, because when you toy with women's hearts, there's a lot of consequences that can come with it. But I'll pass the mic.
All right, go ahead, Africa.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was very clear. It's very clear with that lady Jacinta that's what this was about. And the fact that she's always on the South African news, and they're going to her as if she's some sort of a leader or a activist. I just look at that old video of her saying plain as day that she would never, ever, ever date a South African man. And she loves Nigerian music. She loves Nigerian men. She loves this and that. And then within the course of a couple of years, now she's the leader trying to get all these Nigerian men kicked out. It's amazing. It's amazing.
All right, go ahead, Africa.
Yeah, greetings, Dennis. Basically, my take on this, I just had so many gibberish. I can't stop laughing behind. But we all know, look, we all know the reality what's going on globally when it comes to xenophobia and racism and the divide and rule. We know who is behind this. I mean, to sit there and say it's because Yoruba men or Nigerian men are going to South Africa, they're breaking hearts, and so ridiculous. Oh, it's just so sad how people don't read. Listen, I live in the UK. Okay, we have a similar problem. We the same person who is behind all this nightmare in South Africa. He is doing the same thing in the UK, and he's not hiding it. Okay, I mean, he's in the UK causing mayhem between the race, between the black and the white. Okay, he is sponsoring the far right. He's sponsoring thugs to go in the streets, targeting ethnic minorities. They will go after the religion first. When they finish with the religion, they'll go after your color. When they finish with your color, they will go after people on social welfare. When they finish with them, they will go after people that got certain color hair and so on. This has always been going on. Elon Musk is behind all this rhetoric. We know the fact. The fact is here. We have intelligence that study these people who are actually putting the work in and exposing them for who they are. The media, in fact, the UK media have already come out on this, that Elon Musk is behind what's going on in South Africa. He's behind what's going on in the UK. He's behind what's going on in America to some extent. So how are we going to stop this? Is the question. How is it going to be stopped? I mean, we can turn our back on Africa and the South African brothers. Um, God, okay. What's going to happen if this guy? If we can turn our back on them, but what's going to happen if this guy wants to take over South Africa one day for his people? Because we know these people in South Africa, they have always been quite weak towards, in the hands of the white men. Let's be real. We have some black people that they have always been weak in the hand of white people. It's just a fact. You go back to history, they're never able to stand up to what is theirs and defend what is theirs and keep what they call sovereignty. Because if you don't have sovereignty, you don't have a country. So, we need to look at how we need to help these brothers in South Africa. And those Nigerians, I mean, the majority country in Africa is xenophobic anyway. South Africa is not the only xenophobic country. In West Africa, there are a lot of xenophobic countries. I mean, Nigeria, there are a lot of xenophobia going on. But they haven't come out yet in the street attacking people. But they have. Between Nigeria and Ghana, they had a lot of xenophobia. In the neighboring country, Liberia, during the war, there was a xenophobic attack from people based on their religion. So I mean, it's nothing new.
But this is very different. This is something new, though. I believe this is a new.
It is new because there's one person who knows the money who have his own interest to divide and rule.
But we can't just blame it all on one person. When you have
mobs yes, that's true.
Having grassroots leaders.
That's true. I agree with that.
Out there.
But it's time from somewhere. We need to cut it off from the roots first. Then we can deal with the rest. Okay. If you wanna kill the weed, you need to kill the roots. You can't just chop the weed off. Okay.
I get that, but the point I'm trying to make is that you have people who are like the aforementioned Jacinta, just like that foolish Zulu guy who I forget his name, who keeps running around in the streets beating people with a whip and begging white people for jobs. these people really have fooled themselves into thinking that if they can get rid of other black people out of their country, that somehow they can just go ahead, reclaim stuff, put random women in beauty shops that don't belong to them, and that all their problems go away. And what they're finding already is that there's already a group of people who are like, yo, we need some of these people to come back, because
I
they
mean,
don't
my brother,
have all the skilled workers
before
to
you
actually
interrupt me, that's
complete
the
and do
point. That's
everything.
the point
But
I
they
was
think they
making.
do.
Before you
They're
interrupted, that's the
uneducated,
point I was making.
and
Okay,
they're lazy, essentially.
right, and
And
it's the
the,
same
the
thing here.
people, what
And
they're finding is that people were happier um, hiring people from other places in Africa, because at least they knew
mm,
they're coming to work on Monday.
yeah, I mean, exactly the point,
You
and
know,
that's what's going on.
whereas
That's what's going on.
they say the South African typically
Mm,
will get
yeah.
paid, and they're not coming to work the next Monday.
Well, that's the point again. That's my point
They
again.
have not thought this thing through, and they're destroying
Um,
themselves. And if they're too stupid to realize how
they're
they're destroying
stupid. Yeah,
themselves,
I agree. They're stupid.
it's
Okay, I
gotten to the
agree.
point where we're just going to have to let them, because we can't force
I
them
agree.
to see reason.
I agree. I agree to their stupidity.
let,
Yes, yes. Hold on. 1 second.
let
I
me
agree to
say,
their
let me
stupidity, but most of these people who
Hey,
these people target are the stupid
somebody
people.
has an echo. They need to. Oh, that was okay. Go ahead, Africa. After is African always. Always.
Yeah, yeah. Most of these people that are being targeted are the stupid people. You will never get the average
African
someone
always. You got
intermediate.
African always. You got to
Yeah,
mute
some.
yourself. Oh,
Yeah,
go
thank
ahead.
you. Yeah, most of the people that they target are the stupid ones. I'm sorry to say that. Even in the UK, they target the stupid white people. The average normal white person will not be out in the street, causing mayhem and fighting for Elon Musk. Okay, they wouldn't do it. They don't even have time for that. They target the stupid. So this is what we got to look at. We cannot just simplify this issue. This is very complicated. It's a global phenomenon. I pass the
my
mic
brother,
now. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you.
Oh,
my brother.
let me pass the mic to African always. Then God's gift. Go ahead, African always.
Hey, Dennis, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very, very good. I just want to add a few simple things. As a general concept, immigrants tend to be, irrespective of wherever they come from, whether they're Malaysian, Zimbabwean, Nigerian, the whole process of being an immigrant is almost like a self-selecting process. In other words, if you have no ambition, the odds of you ending up in South Africa as a Nigerian is probably 1 in 100, or maybe 1 in 1,000. If you have no ambition, the odds of you ending up in South Africa as a Kenyan is probably 1 in 100,000. What I'm basically saying is that one of the challenges that immigrants face, no matter where they go, and it's true in South Africa, is they are much more motivated. They're much more motivated than, let me get rid of this phone. They're much more motivated than the average person. So from a worker's perspective, if you're hiring, the odds are that you're going to want to hire them because they'll show up to work, as somebody mentioned earlier, on a regular basis. You see that here in the United States, where the people who work in the fields, many of them are from South America and Central America and Mexico and so forth. And the kind of work is very, very hard, but yet they show up and they do it. So from a competitive perspective, they have an advantage. The other aspect of that is the average local person, if they have a store, for example, they probably open it up at 8 o'clock and close it at 6. An immigrant who is hustling is going to have that store open up 24/7. And on the odd day that they're closed, if you ring them up, they'll open it up because they need to make that sale. One, because they have people back home who are counting on them. And two, again, it's a self-selecting process. So South Africa is going through the exact same thing that America is going through, the United States is going through, and any country where you have high number of immigrants. The reason the Nigerians stand out is because naturally Nigerians are they're more visible than most other people. If you take the average Nigerian and the average Zimbabwean, from a personality perspective, Nigerians tend to be a little bit more assertive. So they're going to stand out. But it's not that they're much more ambitious than anybody else. It's just that from a characteristics perspective, that's who they are. So what's the challenge for South Africa? The challenge for South Africa, and for any country for that matter, who finds themselves in this situation, is they need to be able to supply the more jobs for the local people. Because if they don't, and in South Africa's case, we know that the population growth versus the job rate, it's not keeping up with the population growth. So you take an average young person coming out of, let's say, Soweto or some other place. They're competing again with with somebody much more motivated than them. So it's going to naturally lead to something like this. And the only solution for it really is for the leaders to not turn their heads away and pretend like it's not a problem. It is a problem, and it will always be a problem, whether it's in South Africa or in the United States or wherever you go in the world. Where there's plenty of jobs, there's less issues. In South Africa, it just happens to be that the country itself is not producing the amount of jobs that it should be producing. Now, one of the things that immigrants do is they tend to go up the food chain, meaning that they start a little store, and the little store turn into 2 stores and 3 stores, and they start to hire. But again, we run into this problem where if you own a shop and you have a choice between a South African and, let's say, somebody from Botswana or wherever, right?
That doesn't make sense at all.
So that's fine. But the point is that if in the United States, for example, and it's true, I don't care what country you go to, you have the same set of issues where the locals complain that the outsiders come in and they have advantages that the other local people don't have. Again, it's not in the United States, for example, the image of Indians from India tends to be pretty good. But that's because the average American is not meeting the average Indian who has no ambition whatsoever, because he's never going to get here. And it's the same thing in South Africa. So the government itself can't stick its head in the sand. They're going to have to come up with a better plan, and they can't pretend like it's not going to cause a problem. It is causing a problem, and it will continue to cause a problem until the government. The immigrants have no control over this. They're at the mercy of the situation. Right? It's the government who's supposed to step up to the plate. And also
we got to pass the mic, brother.
Yeah. I don't understand your point. I don't know. You're making wrong comparison. It doesn't make sense.
Let the man make me finish his point. Let's not be rude.
All right, 30 after an hour, 30 seconds if you could get to the point, and then I got to pass the God's gift.
The issue in South Africa is no different than it is in any high immigrant society. The government has a responsibility to create jobs and to protect the immigrants, because you're going to always get immigrants who are more ambitious, who will seem to be having an inside edge to success in the society. But it's not because they have some inside edge necessarily. It's just because they're more ambitious. That's what I'm saying.
Your comparison doesn't make sense to me, because you're saying because there's limited job, you comparing it with the US, is a similar thing going on in America. That's completely wrong. It doesn't make sense at all. Nothing is like that going on in the US.
That's not what I said.
Well, you continue to compare with America that, where there's an inflow of immigrant, they're going to be a xenophobic attack because there's limited job. Where is that? First of all, the government has no idea how to create jobs in South Africa. So they have to use the immigrants as a scapegoat for them to attack the immigrant. This is what is going on. But you continue to compare with what is going on in the US, the same thing that is going on in South Africa makes no sense. So that comparison makes no sense.
It's not a comparison. It's not a comparison.
He's right in his comparison. It's an app analysis, right? Because where people are, struggling, where is the scarcity for job, people tend to think that their government or the employer should prioritize the natives of that land. And when they start to hire other people who are not natives to the country, they feel disenfranchised. That's the
Well,
same everywhere. And that's why I
in
think what the brother
America, what is
that's
going on in America? First of all,
you
when there's
you
a
you didn't
limited,
you
when
didn't you
there's a
didn't hear
limited
that
job.
phrase, CD, they took our
Okay,
jobs.
but
They
yeah, I
took our jobs.
understand.
Americans has share similar sentiments, CD.
Yeah, it's complete. It's not like a mass situation that what is going on in South Africa. In America, when there's an unemployment rate going up, everybody will go against that specific administration that is ruling at that time. So people will go to Congress and vote against that administration. That what is going on right now. The reason why Trump is panicking because the unemployment rate is going up, even though he manipulating the job report number, but the unemployment rate is still increasing, which doesn't make sense. So what people going to do in November? People are going to vote against the administration because they're supposed to create job. Why in South Africa is completely different. They think the immigrants are the one that are causing them not to create job, and the government is going with that sentiment. So it's completely different. You cannot compare these two situations. People
Okay,
looking at
I
numbers in
got,
America.
I got to pass the mic. Go ahead, guys. Gift.
Yes, hello panel. Yeah, Dinus. Sorry, I've not been participating that much, because I got other things in the background. But yes, I'm gonna have to take a bit of a controversial viewpoint on this, because I mean the way I'm looking at this is that I'm gonna have to stand on the South African people's side because I feel they've got a right, they've got a right to voice out their stress and to voice out their discomfort, within their own country. I mean, no one's got a right to go into someone else's country and call them lazy. That is just damn rude. You know what I'm saying? That's not, it's not acceptable for for someone coming from a next continent to go into someone's house and you're calling them lazy and you're pointing fingers at them. You have to understand the dynamics because these people have come from, you have to look, it's a bigger picture. You have to look deep into this. They've come from a traumatized event, and it's only been like 30 years, 40 years. So it's quite new, so they're coming from all this, instability, all these problems that they've been going through. And you have to also take into account they've been marginalized. There is some marginalization at play, where obviously the elites, the people that have power are the Caucasian people, which, we know how Caucasian people go about their things. They play games. They pit people against. They do the divide and conquer, pit people against each other, and
Exactly.
I think that has played out. That has played out within South Africa. And over the years, over the decades, is slowly, degraded the South African man, and has kind of put the South African man in a bit of a corner. Do you understand? So I think definitely, because we have to look at this through a broader picture, and I mean migrants coming in as well. Migrants coming in, from my perspective, they're not well educated. Migrants coming in are not well, they don't have the knowledge about the country. Most migrants going out, they're not well educated in the economies in the countries that they're going into, which causes a problem because you have to understand, these people, they've got a system already. They've been marginalized for years and years. they've got some type of rotation. They got some type of system. Do you understand? So you as a migrant coming into their system and coming into their realm, you have to kind of study what's going on. You can't just go in and just want to set up shop and do all these things, because you could be causing some disruptions. You could be causing some big problems. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's happened. You know, they've got their own rotation. They've got their own way of doing stuff. You know, and you have to like learn and respect that. Do you understand? And watch. You're going into someone's house, so you have to tread carefully. You have to like, you know, find out where you can, you know, where you can settle, where you can establish, and where you can do your stuff. You understand? So I think that's some of the problem. It comes down to education. You know what I'm saying? I think most migrants going into a different country, any country, it should be compulsive for them to do some type of study, some type of, you know, curriculum about the country and what's happened in that country before they go into that country. And I think that will help, you know, that will help, because we see a pattern all around the world. Now take Nigerians, for example, you know, going into other like countries and obviously destabilizing certain communities and doing all kinds of things. And, you know, it comes down to maybe just getting some knowledge, you know, and that cycle will eventually break, because, yeah, as I'm saying, most of the migrants that do go out, they're not well informed, they're not well educated, you know, and so that's what brings some of the problems.
But here's the deal.
think-
Most of the migrants are actually the people who employers want to hire. They are actually more educated in terms of
Because they hire
skills.
them on the cheap. Sorry to butt in, but they hire them on the cheap compared to what they will pay the people that live there. They hire them
That
for
causes
next to
problems
nothing.
as well.
I get that part, but what I'm saying is there are people who are now calling for some of the migrants to come back in certain industries.
Yeah,
So
I think
Listen,
Yeah,
there
because
needs
it's
to be
cheap labor. You
discipline
have to
and
understand it's a
control.
business.
I think
Sorry to
when you're
butt in.
operating, I think when you're operating a capital system like South Africa, which is a capitalist system, there's no time to play. What you have to understand, you have to learn business for people also. In the healthcare they talk about,
Listen, can I
hold
have
up,
my say?
I heard that the healthcare they talk about, even the migrants are even paying, even South Africa even paying for the healthcare. You understand me? They pay more than the migrants. And look at Hill Street just empty. The South Africa, they pay them social, they pay the welfare every
It
month.
doesn't
They got
matter.
money.
Listen, when
Hold
I
But
on,
heard
stop
let me
cutting
finish.
the
Mate,
man
that's
off.
their
The man's still giving
country.
his point. Stop
It's their
cutting him
Let me
off.
country.
finish.
It's
They pay them.
theirs. You
They
can't
pay
go
the
in there and
welfare,
call them lazy.
and
I've
they
heard
do what
Guys,
possible.
let V talk. Go ahead, V.
Okay, yes, I've heard this. What this gentleman just said is a very typical Nigerian talking point. Oh, the South Africans are paying social security to their children, so
Hey,
they are
don't blame
lazy.
Nigeria for these
No,
things. Don't blame Nigeria for
no,
anything. Don't blame Nigeria for
I'm
anything.
not blaming. Listen to me.
So what are you
It's a
blaming
very
us?
Oh my
typical
God.
Nigerian talking point.
No, stop
It's a very
blaming
typical.
Nigerian. They don't do anything.
Don't blame
Stop
Nigeria
doing
for
that.
No,
anything.
Come
Stop.
on, guys. Let's have decorum. Let
Can
us
I
speak.
just
Yeah.
speak? Can
No,
I
stop
just
doing
Even you
Let the
Ghanaians,
that.
woman speak.
even
Let
you
the
Can
from
I
woman
Ghana,
speak,
say this?
man.
I'm not
even
blaming Nigerians.
even you from Ghana with borrow you more.
Goodness.
Let
Let
the
her
woman
speak.
speak.
Yeah, go ahead, V.
Listen, I said it's a Nigerian talking point that I've heard it many times on the social media. The South Africans have been paid social security, so they are lazy. They have set up their country to suit them. They didn't set up their country to suit anybody else. You just like this, the last gentleman that just spoke said, if you go to another man's home, you don't go there to disrespect them. It's a very common African courtesy. You all know that. And you have
Thank you.
Nigeria needs to do something about their population.
Don't blame Nigeria. Don't blame Nigeria. Talk your talk.
You have
Talk your
40%.
talk.
Stop it, man.
Take
Stop it,
common
Cadola.
sense from you, mate.
Cadola, stop it.
Calm down. Let her speak. Calm down, kiddo.
Your population is exploding. You have 40%, 48. This is a UN report, right? 38% to 40% of your population that has no formal education, that they are just living by hand to mouth. You are living in a country that is currently in a terrible situation. You go around blaming somebody as being lazy. And
It's no different from Ghana. What's the difference? The same is shit in
What is the
Ghana.
Can
difference
you
of
let
Ghana?
me finish? I will talk about Ghana. What
Yeah,
brought
but
about
talk about your country first.
Talk your country
this
first.
issue?
Talk your country
Well,
first,
I
then we
want to
talk.
talk about my country
Guys,
because
stop it,
the
man. Stop
numbers of
it.
people, the number of Ghanaians
When Ghana was
in South
collecting
Africa
Nigerian
is
law, they didn't talk
huge.
about that.
Oh boy.
Well, Nigeria
We were
should
borrowing
deal
Ghana
with it
money.
because
When we were borrowing Ghana money, why you
currently
didn't
you
think
are
about it?
going around everywhere and you want to
No,
impose
you
yourself
borrow.
on everybody.
Nigeria borrow you money. We people cannot borrow for IMF.
Well,
People come to
borrow
Nigeria to
who
borrow money.
The Ghana doesn't
We
owe
borrow
Nigeria
you for money.
nothing. Ghana doesn't
Jonathan
owe.
borrow you for
Go
money.
and check
Let's
now.
not do this
Ghana
Why
does
nonsense,
borrow
not
for
owe
man.
money?
Nigeria nothing.
It's
Ghana
about
doesn't
No,
owe
you
South
go live
Africa
poor.
anything.
You know, apart
Let
from
them
Accra.
finish
You
first.
are
Let them
Yeah,
rich,
but
finish.
let
yet
her
you
Bro,
are
talk
rich,
Apart
about
from
her
and you
country.
Accra, you
cannot
people
run
live
your
very poor.
country.
You people live
let them
primitive.
finish, then you can come in.
Here we go. Listen, anybody interrupts V, she gets an extra minute. V, you got a
Thank
minute.
you,
Anybody
darling.
interrupts, you got an extra minute.
You are rich, yet you cannot run your country. Yeah, you trooping around everywhere. You calling everybody lazy because you come in with an attitude that people don't like. People live in their situation and their environment. They're happy with the way they are. You don't have to walk in there telling them what to do. If you can do it, why don't you do it in your country? You are one of the most richest people. You have huge numbers of people educated, but yet you cannot run your country. You have people in your state being.
Dennis, please.
No,
I have to answer her back.
I said, let me finish.
V, you got an extra minute, V. You got an extra minute. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Dennis,
You know
I will reply
You know
back.
what brought about this issue?
Yeah, Ola, wait. When she finished, you can
Same
interject. Ola,
thing.
let her
It
finish,
was the
please.
Igbo King issue again that's triggered
But
up
she's
this whole
saying they
thing
want
again.
you
Thank
over
you.
and
The
over and
Igbo
over.
King
Same
that
thing over and
started
over.
in Ghana.
Don't interrupt her.
The
Let her finish,
Igbo
please.
King. You talk over me, I'm going to talk over you.
Thank you.
You guys don't want to hear facts. The Igbo King that started in Ghana that triggered the Ghanaians off. They went and did the same in South Africa. Why can't you comport yourself when you go to another man's country? You do not have the right to go to another man's home and disrespect them. Yes, and the South Africans are right. You have Ghana. When the Ghanaians were asking those Igbos, why are you people? Oh, I'm married to a Ghanaian woman. They go there. The easiest ways to get into the country is to get you to the women. Yes, they married to the Ghanaian woman. They married to the South African woman. They married. Why don't you go and marry your own woman? You have plenty of women in Nigeria.
Go
You know what I mean?
easy,
You
Ola. Go
guys
easy
just
on
go
me. Go
around
easy.
and think you have the right to go and destabilize everywhere in West Africa. Now they're moving into Gambia. Wait and see what's going to happen in Gambia soon. They're moving a tiny country like Gambia. They're moving in droves. Wait and see what's going to happen. You don't have the right to go and destabilize anybody.
You can't
Sort
call
your
people
country
lazy.
Smiling
out.
because we've
You
done
can't.
crowded. The smiling because we
Why
You
do
got
crowded
you
no
have
soon.
right to call anyone lazy in your country. What's wrong with you?
Dennis,
You don't have the right to do that. It's disrespectful.
Dennis, I cannot sit here. I cannot sit here and allow these hypocrites.
Let Ola interject. Ola, interject.
People who don't want to accept their
Ola.
responsibility. Anyway, let me conclude with the South African issue. With South Africa,
let her finish.
I blame the black elites in South Africa. Because
She's saying one thing over and over.
Can I finish, mister?
Brother, come on, man.
I blame the black elite because the same thing happened in any African country. Once we got independent, they ran the same system that the colonialists were running. It's just the faces that change. And that's exactly what they're doing in South Africa. You have a situation whereby land distribution that the people have been certain about, the black elites are in power now. They've done nothing. And I blame Mbeki as well, right? And you also have a situation in all African countries where when we had this colonialists left, you have a group of elite that got in there and they ran the same system, stealing and misappropriating the country's resources. And then they're very small minority. You have a huge, massive amount of people that are fighting over the little resources that left. So when you have another group of people moving in droves, it just destabilizes them. And that's why they rebel. And so you have to blame the black elite within all the countries. They are just ripping the people off. Why should Nigeria have so much people uneducated, unemployed, and so forth with all your resources? You're not talking about that. You don't spend the energy fighting your government, but you can move into another man's country and tell them that they're lazy and they can't, excuse me, have their women and so forth. What the hell is that?
Thank you.
It's disrespectful.
Hold on. Can I add something here to that though? The counter argument
No,
to that
let
is
Ola wanted to interject. Let Ola
okay.
interject quick.
Right.
With no fairness. Ola. Yeah.
You see,
Be nice.
you
Be
talk
nice.
like
It's like the ladies.
when
No,
Ghana
you
was
can
running
say
to that.
anything you want. I
Hold
don't
on,
care. The
hold
facts
on,
are
hold on,
facts.
hold on, hold
Your
on,
population,
hold on.
last time they checked, Nigerian population gave more birth than the whole of Europe put together. I'm not comparing that it's good or bad, but if you're
Hold
giving
on,
birth so much
hold on,
and you're not
hold on, hold on,
preparing, you are not
hold on,
preparing for the generation you are
But
bringing into
A
this earth.
literacy rate.
How on
nobody
earth
is
do you expect
traveling
them
with the
to
High
survive?
Ghanaians
literacy
and
rates.
Nigerians. So it's between those two
Yeah, V,
countries. Your fight.
let
Your
Ola make
fight.
his point quick.
Only
Yeah,
the
you
two
Ola,
see,
yeah,
countries
go on, Ola.
everywhere you go. Ghana
you
and
see,
Nigeria. So you're fighting
you
among
see,
yourselves.
don't start what you cannot finish,
I
and
can
you have
finish
to
you
know
well, well.
more.
I can finish you well, well.
You
Make
have
it
to know
bring
what
me.
you talk.
I go
You have to know
fight
what
you.
you're talking
I don't
about.
care.
Hold on, you have
You
to know what
don't
you're
care what
talking
you talk
about.
about. You're living in a country that is in a mess, isn't it? Your country isn't it in
You
a
see,
mess? What are you spending your energy fighting your
you,
leaders? Why are you
how
going
about
around
Ghana?
fighting everybody?
How about Ghana? Hold on.
Well,
If
Ghana
you
is
see,
in a
that's
mess,
why. Like,
but
no,
Ghanaians are fighting their leaders at every corner. Ghanaians are
hold
fighting
on,
their leaders at
please.
every corner.
Who is this? Who is this
Yeah, V, let
woman?
him make his point.
You
No,
see, let me
she's
give you a
fine.
brief. Let me give you a brief
She's fine.
history. If you don't
And
know,
Yeah,
I
go on.
find it so
when
rude
your
that you
country cannot
compare
borrow
a
money,
nation of
when your
almost
country, when your
250 million to a
can
nation of
somebody
30
talk?
million. You shouldn't compare
Can
Nigeria to
somebody
Okay,
Ghana.
talk?
You should
V,
compare Nigeria to
we were
V,
trying to give you a chance to speak. You gotta let him
not
speak.
Ghana.
If you don't
V,
No,
want the
in
males
all
to
you're
fairness,
always
disrespect you, you
making
gotta show
comparison
respect
to
yourself,
Ghana,
V.
which is not right.
V, let him
She's
You
speak.
should
In
she's
all
compare
talking
fairness,
over
Nigeria
this
to
guy,
let
Ethiopia
man. You're
or
V,
Greece.
you gotta let him
stop,
speak.
man.
You have to let him
it's
speak.
emotion. It's
Come on.
emotion. It's emotion. Sister, let him make his
You
point.
have
Yeah.
already spoken.
No,
It's time
I
for Ola
said
to
he should
speak. You're
not
still talking
compare.
over this guy. You
He
know.
should not compare Nigeria to Ghana. Nigeria is a population of almost 250 million, if it's counted accurately. Ghana is
Okay, my
about
question
33,
is, if
35
you
million.
guys have a
Don't
small
It's
compare. It's not
conversation
all
about
comparable.
this
so
time
many
to speak.
Don't
Why can't
Ghanaians,
we let him speak?
That's well understood. I understand that. I agree with that. Yeah, Ola, go on. Make your point, Ola.
She stood there. Nigeria never hides their problem. If you check YouTube, we're always saying it. We don't cover up. We say the way it is. If you can say Nigerians are doing this, while Ghana is also doing the same thing. If your people will not be hot in South Africa, you will say you are not even in South Africa. You know what I mean? You will say no, you are not even there. We always condemn any Nigeria doing bad thing there. It's even few of them. You know, I will condemn it openly, always in the internet. No Nigeria person, oh, Nigeria doing this. But when you start analyzing a fellow black man that look like you call that person Africa. You see,
you
Ghana
are
always want
people
to
are unaliving yourself every day in your country. Come on.
Ghana always want
She's
to climb.
interrupting the guy again, man. Come
Ghana
on.
always want to climb on the high horse.
He should get an extra minute every time she interrupts.
You see,
Yeah, let me get a
go on,
minute,
Ola.
but I would interrupt him.
you see, you're not the first one saying this. Even your ex-president was also having big mouth everywhere I go. Oh, when Nigeria will go no visa free, when the people together, we never answered them. But when Buhari locked that border, Ghana was almost on its knee. You
Ghana was never.
So don't talk what you know you cannot finish. That's what I say. Close your
Nigeria
mouth.
is benefiting more from Ghana than Ghana is benefiting from Nigeria.
Your entertainment alone, without Nigeria, you cannot climb up. You drove Nigeria not to be shooting movie in Ghana. We will draw, but we now find this out of jealousy. I see we'll see a player come and do with us. You see, Ghana is a noise maker.
Can I ask you, Ola, can I
Ghana is a noise maker. They're not achievers. They make a lot of noise. That's all.
Yeah.
Ola, let me say this.
Yeah,
I'm no Nigerian. We know Nigerian travel, but what? No other. I mean, Nigeria is overpopulated. We all understand that. But what Ghanaians were doing there? There's no other West African country except Ghanaians. Nigeria, yeah, we don't understand they travel, but why so many Ghanaians went to South Africa? You're all doing the same shit.
The South
So we didn't
Africans
say
came to
Ivorian
Ghana to
selling, playing
recruit
for their people.
Ghanaians.
We didn't see Sierra
Initially,
Leoneans and let
after
me
apartheid,
stop cutting
then
me
after
off.
that, you
You
talking
do
about Ghana, so
speaking
I'm
to
going to
that.
answer you.
I'm
Nah,
talking
you
to
don't have
Ola.
to answer him. He got a right to speak, V. Let him speak.
Let me
If let,
talk.
let them, fairness, let him finish.
This is just a Western lady just cutting everybody off here. So my
Because
point
you
is,
for yourself, you're
we know Nigerian they travel. We understand that they are overpopulated. They are not hiding that. But why you Ghanaians, so many of you just went to South Africa? We never see Ivorians sending
okay.
plane for their
All
people,
right,
right?
I'll answer you
If you
when you're
want
done.
to talk down on Nigeria that they are illiterate, why Ghanaians were doing that?
Yeah, I
Are you
mean,
done? Okay,
okay,
let me
That's the
respond to
I
that.
mean,
point.
yeah, one
So
second. Let me
you
just make
cannot
one
talk
point.
anything
Let me
Let me
bad
just,
for
respond to that
Nigeria that the
quickly.
Ghanaians were not
I
yeah,
doing
V,
tell
the
one
same
you,
thing.
second, right? Let me just
yeah,
make
let
Everybody
one
me
doing the
point,
same
right?
respond.
shit.
I know we all, sorry, brother. We all criticize Nigeria, okay, and other African countries. I do it in the place of care because I care about Nigeria because they're brothers. We criticize them on a point of caring because when you care about somebody, you tell them what they're doing wrong, okay?
Thank
So
you.
that should be the point,
We
okay?
work on
So we're not
All
we
facts,
don't
right, all
factual.
right. Let
yes,
me
okay.
just say
And
this
but
quickly, and
well,
I'll
one
land.
second, V. When Nigeria closed their border, majority of African countries they struggled because number one they couldn't get exports of food from Nigeria to their country. Number two, the oil because Nigeria the oil is cheap in Nigeria. A lot of countries in neighboring countries, they rely on the oil that they smuggle from Nigeria into their neighboring countries. So what the point Ola was making, I remember that myself because when Buhari closed the border, all the neighboring countries they were crying, they struggled. So we all intertwine as people. Whatever happened in Nigeria will affect Ghana. Whatever happened in Ghana will affect Ivory Coast. Whatever happened in Ivory Coast will affect, Guinea. Whatever happened in Guinea will affect Sierra Leone. So we should we should have this because we are very regional people. This is why we have what they call ECOWAS. Okay,
Yes,
so we should
that
bear
is
that in
fair,
mind. So
and that
when they criticize in Ghana, when we criticize in Ghana or Nigeria, it doesn't mean we hate you guys. We
no,
just
I'm not saying
we,
they hit,
we
but
just
you have
think,
to make
okay,
a fair comparison.
yeah,
Okay,
all
you
right,
have to make a
okay,
fair
okay.
comparison.
Mm,
I'll
mm.
explain why Ghanaians ended up in. As it speak today, South Africa and Ghana even had a free. They have this accord where Ghanaians could travel to South Africa and they'll get their visa at the airport. That was the only West African country that South Africa was doing that with, because South Africa up
That's
until
not true. Africans get the same thing
all
too.
right, okay,
There's
if
no
Ivory
aberrance
Coast
over
get,
there.
I
So
don't
I
know.
don't know why you talking about Ghana.
I don't know. But
Yeah,
Ghanaians
so a
were
lot of
traveling to
African
They're
South
countries.
French though,
Africa.
innit? They're French speaking
Ghanaians
though, so
were
they're not gonna
traveling
think
to
you, innit?
South Africa because after the end of apartheid, the South Africans were recruiting Ghanaian professionals like teachers, doctors, and so forth to come and fill in the gap of where the black
We didn't
people
see
didn't
that
have
people
access.
coming cleaning
Can I
shoe,
finish? Now
opening
you
hairdressing
made a
store.
lot
These
of
are not. They were not
listen.
professional that are so on a plane. These were people that were,
Listen, well, you
working.
see, you
No,
obey my
see,
game
it's
with
true. There were
the
Ghanaian teachers that was recruited.
Yeah, but I'm at the same time, people that
I
I
said
saw on the
after
plane,
apartheid. I
some
said
of them were split.
after apartheid, Ghanaians the South Africans came and recruited teachers and doctors in particular, professionals. And there's a lot of
But
Ghanaians who went there to do. Later on, you have, I think maybe coming in the 90s or something like that, you have a few some Ghanaians that went there. Now they were the manual labor, mechanics, hairdressers, and so forth. These are the group that went in later. But initially, the South Africans came in to recruit Ghanaian teachers and all that stuff. And many of them still work in their universities. I know one or two, they're still there working in their universities in South Africa. Okay. Now, when they did that, and Ghanaians
did they recruit Nigeria? Hold on. Did they recruit Nigerian
I
doctors
don't know.
also?
I said I'm so you
You see,
I said the Ghanaians are
you
there, so
see,
I don't know about
sometimes
Nigeria.
I think you're one of
Well,
the most biggest hypocrites on earth. You people are all
afterwards
liars.
is
We don't listen to. We don't
you
even listen
are
to
the
Ghana.
liar. Who lies more than
When Ghana
Nigerians?
talk, we
Who
don't listen
lies
to
more than
Ghana
Nigerians? You want to accept your
Ghana
fact.
is like a dead man.
South
Ghanaians are like
Africa.
dead man walking. Ghana like a dead man
Look.
walking. We don't even listen to them.
One second,
Anything they talk, we already know they are hypocrites.
but
Because
all I saw on the plane were the people that were working in the barber shop, hairdressers.
You are weak. You are wayward. You are hypocrite. You
When
are
you
good to
guys are
nothing.
having discussions, yeah?
You see, guys,
millions of the people that Ghana to
You
destroy
know,
their
your people are dying in the northern part of Ghana. You hide it, and they don't
They are
kill
not
themselves in the
dying.
part of
That's a
Ghana?
lie.
Are they not killing
That's
them
a
in another part of
lie.
Ghana?
That's
Maybe by
one
tribal
big
war?
lie.
You this
That's a
hypocrite.
lie.
You know,
That's a lie.
you
You are the
hypocrite. Come
biggest
and be
one.
talking
How
nonsense
many
out of
people in
out
your
here.
country have been
You know, idiot
slaughtered daily
people.
by
They
bandits?
cannot
What are you
they
talking
cannot
about?
do nothing. They only beg. You people beg
Yeah,
for
you
pension for
people are
tourists.
the
You people
beggars of
beg for black
Africa.
Americans to give
Beggar
you book.
I'm
Nigeria.
You
speaking.
people beg for
I'm
Beggars.
everything.
speaking from a
Idiot people.
Beggars.
sentimental
With
point
all
of
your
view.
money you
Idiot.
throw around,
You
you're
people are
When
begging.
you have
beggars.
to
You people
stop
are beggars.
speaking from a
You are
sentimental
You people are
beggars.
point of view,
professional
you know.
beggars.
You are beggars.
You
You
people
are
are
original
professional
beggars. You people
beggars.
they
You
beg
people
long
beg for
time.
tourists for
You they
pencil.
You're
beg.
You
behaving
You
people
like
take
beg
away
for
kids,
the
you
tourists
money.
for
They
know.
beg.
pen.
They
You
beg
people
in the
beg
country.
for
They beg
anything.
You're
everywhere.
behaving
You know,
like kids.
idiot people. You people can even
This is
walk
some
out
non.
and
This is some
build your own
nonsense you're
country.
doing.
Hola,
Both of
hola,
you guys
hola.
are
Can you shut
mature
up?
adults. Behave
Ola,
better.
you big man, yeah. Ola, you big
Hola.
man. Cool.
No, no, but
No,
You're
these
behaving
people
like
is
a
talking
kid,
nonsense when
man.
they're professional
You
beggars.
are
You're
They
behaving
beg
like a
everybody
kid,
for
man.
anything.
You're not intellectual,
You are
man. You're not
talking
coming on
trash.
the
You think
No,
I'm
let's
intellectual
gonna
not
lie
do
side.
to
this.
you? You
So
think I'm gonna lie
This is
to you?
why
Donis, you're
this is
doing us
why
a
I took a break.
disservice when you just leave the panel
God
to
give.
No,
run
no.
them
This
to
is
run
this is
them
why I
Like
up,
took a break.
Donis. You
intellectual.
got
This
to
is why I took
control
a
the
Finish
break
what I'm
panel.
from
saying.
being
No,
around
don't allow
bad
this.
people.
No,
You made a lot
Elvis,
of
Elvis,
unnecessary
Hola,
Elvis,
reaction, and I'm
Elvis. I will not
responding
allow
to
this.
you. I
I
wasn't
will not allow
responding
this
to
Hola,
fool,
you.
calm
this
down,
done
calm
for
down.
nothing,
Look,
this bastard to be
no,
talking
but
Yeah,
see,
you
nonsense out of his
went
mouth
off
when
your
they're
have
mic
you
to
you
ever
know when
respond
they're
seen
to
your
what
even
you
begging
people?
for
offended.
everything.
What
She's
you
guys,
do
if
with
you
defending
your
you
guys,
at the
bandits,
dollar.
they
Show
don't deal
respect to
with them.
her.
They're only doing it in the north. Go and deal with them.
You know, shame
Go
for
and deal
show
with your
respect to my
bandits
country.
that kidnap your
You know,
children
this
from
Hola,
school.
idiot,
You're
hola,
this
telling them
idiot
the
people that
best
beg,
public school.
this idiot
Hola,
Go
people
and
that
deal with
beg
them
for
hola,
everything.
and stop
You
hola,
know,
talking
they
about
beg for
hola,
beggars of
everything.
hola.
They
Don't
cannot
Nigeria.
fall
even
it.
achieve
Don't fall
nothing.
for it.
guys, can you
You
shut
see,
up?
guys. You see, yeah, guys. Look at this.
Honorary
You see,
Nigeria
From
will
a
tell you
this,
people to you
sentimental
people
point
betray
of
the people
view,
there.
this
like
You
is the
people
you
are
need
point.
to
betrayers.
stop
This is the
that.
hola. This is the
We
point I
need to
was
have
making when I
intellectual
came on.
debate.
This is exactly God give. This is the point I was making when I came on. I said this is only. It's not just South African as xenophobic. I mean, look at us. Look
No,
at
this is a
us.
question of
Ghana,
xenophobic.
Nigeria.
This
They're
is a
This is
getting to
question
their
of
no, no, no,
feelings.
no,
Why are
when
you
no.
getting
facts
No,
into your
no.
are
V,
feelings?
presented.
V, 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 V. No, stop. It is. West Africans
No,
are
it
just as
isn't.
bad
No,
as
I don't
South
see it as a
African. The only
xenophobia.
difference, the
When
only
you
no, the
have
only
a group
difference
of
is
people,
we
all
don't
right,
go
let
out.
me
Let me
just
just
explain.
finish. Let me finish this. Time.
No,
Oh God,
no,
let me
you
finish. The
people have been
only
talking and I've been listening. I didn't even want to come on, but I just thought I heard something. I said, let me come and say something, right? You recently a high level delegation of Ghanaians were
When they
speaking to
come with you
Nigeria
attack everybody.
migration issue. And you know what the Nigerians said to the Ghanaians? They said, if you people are not careful, we will send millions of our people down to your country to destabilize it. This is a high-level conversation. And the Nigerians said that. And the
Where's the
Ghanaians were
proof?
shocked.
Where's the proof? Where's the proof for
Well,
that?
the person that said it is not going to lie. And I'm not going to
Where's
disagree.
the
What
proof?
proof?
Because
You
you
think
can't
they'll
See,
come
say
and
look,
things
discuss
out
it
of.
with you?
Do you have any?
They'll come and discuss it with you.
look,
It was
Do
you
you
have
discussed
have
to
among the
stop
any
Ghanaians.
speaking from
press
a
release? Do you
sentimental
have any
point
Nigerians
of
refer
document?
to
view. You
You know
Ghana
what
know,
I'm saying?
as one of
you
their
will never get
states.
anywhere if you speak from a
Nigerians refer
sentimental
to
point of
Ghana as
view.
one
You
of
have to
their
speak on
states.
factual. We have to work on
That's a fact.
factual things.
I mean, you should start
we
Not
making up story
sentimental.
that people call this lazy. What is the proof that you got?
this
Little
this is
petty thing that people talk about in the street, and you come and discuss that. Sometimes
this
you
is the
have to
problem that
try
we
to
have.
be intellectual and get the
No, you
fact.
have to. You have to.
When
You
you
have
hear
to.
from individual Nigerians say, oh,
You
what's
have to
that
reach
issue?
higher than
Then
that. You have to. You have to come
you
better
try
than
to
that. You know. You
categorize
can't
that all
come
Nigerians say
on
this
the
people they
on
are
the. You
lazy.
know,
That doesn't
on
make
a
no sense.
childish, petty,
Can I talk,
you
sir?
know,
Please, I
unintellectual
mean,
debate.
you came here. You said Nigerians call people lazy. How many? What is the population of Nigeria?
Look, it's
So
all on the internet. It's
if
all on
100
the
Nigerians
internet.
say that, then you will say all Nigerians say the people they they are
Hey,
racist. These
guys,
are
let
not
me
something that you want to take on.
Is it not true though? That's what you're
hold
saying.
on,
That's what
Yes,
that
it
that
is.
came from your
I gotta pass
people.
the mic. I gotta pass the mic to Man in the High Castle because we gotta close out soon. Man in the High Castle, go ahead.
Good evening.
Oh
Thank you,
God,
brother.
God,
Thank you,
oh
brother
my
Reverend
Daniels,
is
God.
gonna
for
get
allowing
one
me
for
to come
now.
on.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Rise and shine, proud Americans. This is the man in the high castle, Reverend Green. It
Are you doing the
is,
boycott? Are you doing
it
the
is,
Asian boycott, men in the
it
High
is,
Castle?
it is June 13th, 2026. So I've been told. And what right now everyone is talking about is what the man in the high castle was talking about previously on Search for Uhuru. He had spoke about delineation is holy. Delineation has been ordained by the Most High. Now, can you dig it finally, fellas? Can you dig it finally, sisters? What Reverend Green has been saying from the time he has gotten on this panel. Nothing but the truth. Now it's time for Africans who are on the continent to either admit that you're not living on the continent right now and you want no parts of Africa. How many people on the on the panel right now are in the homeland of their parents? I know I am. Damn. There you have it. Everybody, hit the like button, share, subscribe.
What's the point? I mean, being in your homeland or no, you know, what's the
See,
point?
none of y'all are in your
V,
homeland.
leave it,
V is in the homeland.
None of
leave it,
y'all are in your homeland of your parents.
V. Yeah.
That's wild. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Why
All
should
these
they
orphan
be?
babies popping up on the continent.
Why
Who's
should they
going to
be?
take
Do
care
you
of them?
understand
Look, this is
economics?
not what the conversation is
Let him make
about,
his point.
bro. You
Let
just
him
want to fight
make
with
his point.
Africans. We're
Why
not going
should
to
they
pick you
be?
up
Okay,
when
Why
you're
should
on
they
the
be
way.
like?
okay.
Do
Let
you
me get back
understand?
to the real. All right, let me
Because
talk about.
what's
Let me
happening to
talk
us?
about.
Yeah,
Let me
what's
talk
happening on
about
the
the.
continent?
Let
Yeah,
me talk about the
it's like
progress of Pan
look, the
Africanism.
European has been stifling.
Right now, with
Yeah,
Pan-Africanism,
has been
they're
stifling.
ready to start
That's
grifting.
why we've had to move
They're
overseas.
grifting. They're grifting. You guys are leaving. You're trying to act like you're leaving the far left, and now you're going to try to talk like you're the far right. You're going to do this by the end of the month. This is all you guys are
I
going to
think you've
start
been
talking
drinking
about.
too much of that Nita Potter milk,
Pull
man.
yourselves up by
Your
the
brain is warped.
bootstraps. That's all you guys are going to be babbling in the next month or two.
Yo, go and
Watch.
pop some
He
perks,
wants to fight with
man.
Africans like he has an obsession with us, man. We're not going to engage with
All
you,
your
bro.
USDI resources have been dried up. All your democratic resources have
Yo,
been
come off the
dried up.
Kool-Aid, man.
It's not
All that
dried
stuff
up.
has
You know
been dried
how
up. All the
you
funding
know
is
how you
dried
get the
up.
food stamp? We come in, we get the same food stamp, man. You know how you get help with child health care? We come, we get the same health care, man. It's not drying up. Once you got it, we got it, man.
Food stamp is all for free. All
Okay.
right.
Men
So
in the High Castle.
anything you can get the
Men
Africans
in the
can get
High
it too,
Castle.
man. Nothing is
Are you
drying up.
doing the
But
are
you
you doing
come
the
over these
Asian
countries, you come
boycott?
over to our countries on government assistance.
Yeah. We take the government assistance. The same one you get,
Right.
we get it too.
Right. Do you hear
Men
this,
in the High
President
Castle. Are
Trump?
you doing the
I
Asian
want to
boycott?
give
Are you
shout
doing
out
the
to
Asian
President
boycott?
Trump
Are
for
you doing the Asian boycott?
accelerating the delineation process. Thank you, President Trump,
You know
one of
that.
the greatest presidents ever in the United States of America.
How are you
Tomorrow's his
President
delineating
birthday.
Trump.
when you lay there with an African woman that's feeding you Nita Potter milk to drink, man?
President Trump that took out the voting rights. Is that the one that you're praising?
You got
President
an
Trump.
African woman frying tilapia for you, man. You're not delineating, man. You're attached.
Is that the guy that you're praising? The white supremacist who actually took out the black vote rights?
So
He's
this is
taking
who
out
you
all
gonna
the black.
blame now? You gonna blame him for
Is
all your
that you?
problems right now? You're gonna
No,
blame
I'm
him
not
for the
blaming for all my problem, but
you're gonna blame him for
what
the
he's
little
doing,
girl from
what he's doing,
Mozambique
what
who's
the
looking
guy.
for fresh, clean water. Right.
Oh God.
You should be disgraced of yourselves.
Oh yeah. Well,
Who gave you clean
okay.
water,
Let's talk
man, in the
about
high castle?
Throw American flag in
Who
the
gave you
chat
clean
room.
water
Do
to
you know how many
drink?
people? Do you
The
know?
black
Do you know how many
Americans
people
gave you
in
clean
America?
water to drink,
Do you
or
know?
was it the white man that gave you
My
clean
Men in the
people
water?
high castle.
till
Do
the
you know how
land.
many people in America that cannot drink clean water in America? Do you know how many people actually drinking
Is
bad
there a
water?
black-owned salination plant, or is it owned by the
Listen,
white man?
the one thing that you guys are always so
Okay, so there
Are
you
you
go.
still
obnoxious.
doing? Are
Shut
you
up,
What
still
stop
about
doing
the
the
talking all this
Asian
Republicans
boycott?
in
nonsense
Europe?
when you're
Are
also
you still
living
doing the
under
Asian
the white
boycott?
Republicans
man.
all across Europe.
You're just as
Have
bad.
you ever
You're just
thought
as
about
bad. You're
them?
just as xenophobic. You're
Never.
xenophobic
You're
also.
only
You're
thinking about
xenophobic. Pass the mic. Pass the
yourselves.
mic. Pass the mic. You're xenophobic, man. Pass the mic.
You're
I
a
thought
hypocrite,
so.
man.
You guys
Yeah,
don't even
someone
know
else
what
need to speak.
money is. You
I don't
don't
know
take care of
if
your
You're
own
a
someone else.
money.
hypocrite.
All right, guys, let me pass the
Pass the
mic to
mic.
Shagun, then we got to close
Yeah.
out. Go ahead, Shagun.
Hey guys, wonderful to see you all again, or to hear you anyway. Wow, man, I've been listening before I came on, and again, there will be one subject that is put down to speak about, but the hatred that we had for each other, that would always stand out. Wonderful performance by everybody concerned. I personally, I have no idea what is happening in the world, and in the UK right now, they are presently reframing racist positions as though white people can be victimized racially. It's
Right.
just complete rubbish. However, the framing of this is going on. And then we see South Africa and what they're going through, and it's very much the same thing. And then we see people who are FBA like
Correct.
the we see people like FBA, very arsehole comments that they have to make, arsehole comments. It's all the same. It seems to me like there's a CIA plot that is devised against us. Firstly, I didn't take any of this thing seriously in the UK. And as time goes on, these people are getting stronger and stronger. I can tell you, you may have all heard that there was a murder of a young Polish British guy. His parents were Polish, he is British, and he was stabbed to death by a Sikh guy, of which the police, when they arrived at the incident point, were there arguing with a man who's laying down on the floor. I mean, this in itself is just rubbish. There's none of us that would see a man laying on the floor and then begin handcuffing him and asking him stupid questions. This is what we saw. Yet still, the fact that the person was Sikh, and he's already in prison for 21 years now, he's already been convicted, but that took the whole country to go off key. Then a madness happened in Northern Ireland.
Belfast.
And then the whole thing again was reframed in a certain way that you're seeing, wow, is this a trope? And then black people are still have the time, attitude, and energy to hate themselves. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with us. I'm not quite, but there is something wrong with us. I think I'm a prideful person, but my pride doesn't take away my common sense. And when I speak, I know how to choose my words. If I want to hurt and injure someone, I can do it. But that's not how I want to speak to my people. I don't want to speak to my people in a way that you guys have been conducting yourself this evening.
You
I don't
contradict
want to.
yourself, bro.
Okay, I don't want to speak.
Yeah, he always does that, but
You
it's fine.
contradict
I
yourself.
let him.
You said
Why?
the
But it's fine. Let
CIA
him
is
speak.
causing the trouble, and now you come here against the black people. Well, which one is
No,
it?
no.
We have
Just
said
allow me.
conspiracy. That's a
Just.
conspiracy
You see, again,
theory,
I don't
or
want to
which
get. I
one
don't
is
want to
it?
get into it like that.
CD,
I don't want to get
let
into it like
him.
that. That guy, CD, he's another
just let him do.
awful commentator. But that's up to you. You can commentate as rubbish as you wish. It doesn't disturb me in my life. The thing is, the way we behave to each other with the issues and problems that we have in this world, we should be ashamed. We should be ashamed. We have real issues and problems, and we're being squeezed. And
Very true.
there are hardly any of our governments, our leaders, especially on the continent, which is the most important place, who are really proactively speaking about our return. They're not even caring if we return. The fact of the matter is, if Africans abroad did return to Africa, Africa would be a much better place. If they came with their skills, their sensibilities, their understanding of global positions, if we went back home, we'll make a difference. But the thing is, we are all in the diaspora here, but I don't know if we going home would be able to make any difference apart from to join the hoi polloi of rubbish that takes place in and on the continent. Ghana against Nigeria. Yeah, aren't you people bored of that? Aren't you bored? You must be bored because it's been going on for years. And it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. The
No,
amount of
Nigeria
time.
wants to bully Ghana, and Ghana is not going to be
I mean,
bullied.
Well, you can see like that. Wait. Can you
Look,
please
we
wait?
can't get
Can you please
sentimental.
wait,
You cannot get
everybody? It's my
Have you
sentimental
turn.
at
seen?
this.
Jagun?
It's
Have
an
you seen the
intellectual
picture?
thing.
Jagun. Have you seen the
You have to
picture of
come
Tommy
from an
Robinson and Elon
intellectual
Musk?
point of view.
Have you seen it?
But we know
Have
that
you seen
these
the
things are
picture?
going. We know that these things are
You
going
seen
on
it? You
behind.
seen it? Yeah.
Of course.
You also seen it? Okay.
But these things are right now.
The
Right now.
Nigeria ever bully this?
Excuse
Hold
me.
on. The Nigeria ever bully this idiot here?
Look,
This bastard.
you people that don't know how to behave yourself and don't know how to communicate, will you shut up, stupid idiot?
Yeah,
Don't let me get on this level. Listen, I'm speaking. Allow me to speak because you don't have consciousness and you can't wait to speak your own. You have to come and interrupt me. I don't need your interruption. I don't need it. Rubbish better. Go and sit down somewhere. Listen, I'm saying to us here that we are not using these platforms correctly. We're using them just to argue and tear each other down. That's not how to use this space. It's not. People who use the space like that, really, Janice, you're supposed to throw them away. That's what you're supposed to do. This is supposed to be a platform where we come together and we speak consciously about the issues that we are suffering under, and therefore, what are we going to do about it? People who are FBA, people who are xenophobic, people who are damn right idiotic, you should all fuck off, to be honest, because you're wasting everyone's time. You're not contributing anything.
All right,
apart
all
from
right.
your
No,
dim
the,
witted.
the,
Can I ask you a question?
leave us,
Let me
leave
ask
us
you
alone.
this. Let me
Yeah.
ask
Ask
you.
me.
When was the last time you were in Nigeria? Because you said that we
That
should go
doesn't
back.
matter. You asked me that before.
Well, because I mean, I'm just coming
CD, it
down to
doesn't
your
matter. It
point.
doesn't
You said
matter.
that we should go back
You're so
home
I didn't
sentimental.
say that. I didn't say that we
and
should go
travel.
back home. I said that
He said,
the fact of the
he
matter
said,
is there's nobody who is in the diaspora for nothing. We are all here for reasons of our own, and we know what we're doing outside of the country. Full
But
stop.
coming here,
Why
Okay.
should
speaking
My
for
you
other
next question
people,
is: you
it,
said
me
you're just contradicting yourself.
what is the
But
proof
anyway,
that
I'm
you
not.
have that
I'm
yeah.
not. You need to
CIA
listen.
is
You see,
involved?
because you don't listen very well,
No,
that's why
but
you believe I'm
my
contradicting.
Yeah,
question
This is
is:
what I said, my friend.
you
This is
said
what I said.
CIA
This
is
is.
involved, right? You said
I said
CIA
I
is
believe.
involved.
I
moved
said
on
I
from
So
that.
believe
He
that there
moved
must
on
be
from
that,
that.
first of all,
He
I think
moved
that's
on from that. He
conspiracy
went
theory.
around in a circle.
That's a
as
conspiracy
far as
theory.
you're
Number one.
idiotically concerned.
Number
the, but
two, you
CD,
said the
there's a high
black people.
possibility that they involved
Okay.
because
Well, if that
we
be
know
the case,
we know how they work, right?
you saying
Okay.
CIA is doing it. Okay, let's say that, right? And then he said black people
CD, he was
attacking Israel.
making
If CIA
pointers.
is
He was just making
stop
pointers. That's
cutting
it.
me
it's
off,
just
man. I'm
one
talking to
person
this guy.
speaking, you know.
I'm
So
talking to
what?
this
What?
guy.
Yeah,
Why
let
are you
CD make
cutting
his
me
point.
off?
You
Yeah,
guys,
CD, go
you
on.
don't even you
So
from all I said, it is clear to me that somebody like Sidi doesn't want to elevate the level of this conversation. What he wants to do is to see if he can point out where he can drag me down. Continue now, drag me down,
that's not
damn
what I'm
fool.
doing. Yeah, but you
That's what
saying
you're
that the
doing.
black
Because
people,
if you heard what I
if
said,
CIA is causing this trouble for us, why would you be blaming black people
he said
again
He
he
for?
was
didn't blame
doing
because
it.
black
No,
because
people.
black
He was
people
just
should be
making
blamed.
pointers.
You
He
each
was
see, the
just
thing
time,
making
is,
a
my friend.
anytime
reference.
when you guys causing
Damn it,
trouble,
man.
you'll turn
You
to
know what?
CIA.
Your
I tell you
intellectual
why.
level is
I
just
tell you why.
something else, you know,
It's a
I tell you
CD.
why.
conspiracy theory.
I
Your
tell you
It's
why.
not
intellectual
true.
level is something else. You know that.
I tell
Seriously.
you
He
why.
was
Let me
just
tell you.
making
Let
pointers,
me explain to
making a
City because
reference.
let me explain to City because he is a baby and he cannot expand his
No,
mind.
don't
In
say
his,
that. No, see, this is the
that's what
problem
it is.
there,
That's what's
Jagun.
going on. Listen to
No,
me.
Jagun, listen. I understand where you're
Please
coming
No,
listen
from,
to
no,
but
no.
me.
I mean,
just mind the
let him
language.
talk. Let him talk because
Just
he's
mind the language.
contradicting
Please
himself. I just
listen
want
to
to
me.
know
I know how to use
where
my
he's from.
words.
He's saying the black
Yeah.
people attacking each other. He said
No,
he accused the
listen to me.
CIA again.
You
So
see,
which one
listen to
it
me.
is? Is it CIA or the black people doing
City,
it?
don't
He just
repeat
made
yourself.
pointers,
You've
man. He
repeated
made the
yourself
points.
3 times. I've heard
Because you're
you.
not
You don't.
answering my questions.
Then no one's allowing me.
And I
You're not
believe this
allowing me.
conspiracy
You should
theory. It's
shut
just
up
coming off
and
some
allow me to
theory.
reply so that you get some
Okay.
consciousness. This is what I'm dealing
CD,
with.
let him finish. You can come in after. Go on,
This is what I'm
Jagun. Go on.
dealing with. I'm dealing with the fact that I'm seeing this happening globally with our people. And it's a similar or the same thing happening. And when I see these kinds of patterns, I have to wonder who's setting this up? Who's doing this? When I step back away from the emotional rhetoric that we like to expand upon, I stand back and I look at South Africa and I see what they're saying. And what they're saying to me, it doesn't conscientize their actions. Then I look at America. And as far as Black America is concerned, there are a great many more of Black Americans who are conscious than the idiotic FBA people who have shit to talk about. But within these two groups, I see similarities. Then I'm looking at England and people like Tommy Robinson and all that. You can give them an ear here and there and hear their points, but then you see the progress of where they're going with their points. This to me looks like a reframing, a global reframing for white supremacy. That is one point over there. However,
But
that does
Jagun.
not take away from the responsibility that we have as a Black diaspora. It doesn't take away. You want to
I
remain
agree.
Black.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
You somehow
That's
want
what
you somehow can't see that Black people are making big errors. economically,
what we're discussing
socially,
here. We were
morally.
discussing.
Let me get, what kind of culture? What kind of culture?
What happened in
Are you proud of black
Southampton?
culture globally in the
Yeah.
diaspora?
What happened in Southampton?
We were discussing.
What happened in
I stand
Southampton? That
down,
was the
Joe. I
fault.
stand down.
That was the fault. That was the fault of the police.
Look here,
That was the fault of the police.
We're
What happened
discussing
in
whether
Southampton,
South
right?
Africa is bad for a fellow black person to add a life a fellow black person. When this lady came in and said South Africa said that because of their welfare they gave it to them, they don't have that motivation to open some of this saloon or corner shop Pakistan for have it. But this idiot,
let's not do this.
This
Nigeria
betrayer.
versus
You see what I'm saying? You can't call
You know,
people
this
idiots.
beggar, this beggar,
These people idiots. You're speaking from the sentimental. You're taking it personal.
This
It's not
wayward never
personal,
good for
mate.
nothing. I will give you the same thing you give. You smelly pitch. You know you are an idiot. I will give you the energy you give to my country. I will give you back.
Don't make it
You are
personal.
betrayers. You betray people talk loud but empty vessels. You know, you put talk loud but empty vessels. You put
you're so sentimental, you know.
You're
sentimental.
better than people. Bro. You know, I respect you. Leave it, Ola.
You're sentimental. You are one sentimental guy, man. You're too sentimental.
No.
You can't speak from that point of view. You can't call people idiots.
Hey, bro. This fool to want to rubbish my country. I want to take that nonsense.
No, you have to be factual.
Who is nationalistic?
You know, this country is not to be right about.
You have to be factual. No one's attacking your country. No one's attacking. We're just being factual.
But let's not do this. Let's not do this.
No one's attacking. You have to learn to take criticism, like, to correct yourself.
They're both nationalists. Let's not do this,
emotional, you have no stability in your head. You're full of absolute.
This bastard came in, be attacking my country. You know, this dirty shit. You know, this really
getting worse. It's just getting worse. You are
fantastic, mate.
Let's leave it. Ola, please.
But guys, you're stop there. At least if she's setting example, she should see example of her country. You know,
the only thing we should look at the bigger picture. We should start looking at the bigger picture, Sister V, we should look at the bigger picture.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me say something real quick.
Let me speak my piece. This guy
is quick. This is African always.
No, V, speak, make a point and leave him. Make a point and leave him.
Listen, can I stop my piece, please?
No, but
names. Despite anything I said, I never called him name. I never did that. So it goes to show this is the kind of men we have in Africa. That's why Africa is not person, because they cannot control their emotions. I never called him names, right? And if he wants an info, I can give him worse. Okay? And you
let's go down. Let's go on it and see who will win. Let's go on it and see who will win.
Ola is in Nigeria right now. Ola is in Nigeria.
Are you a child or something?
No, but
you're primary school kid. You're a primary school kid.
Ola, leave it. I'm begging him.
Are you in junior high?
No. God give.
You have an intellectual debate.
Don't start the man.
Amanda is overly emotional. Is the pathetic man alive.
No, V. No, that's no.
We can't have debates like this. You can't be cussing out people. You're too sentimental, blood. No one's attacking your country. No one's saying something directly to you. We're just having an intellectual debate, bro, which you should be able to do as an adult. I don't understand this. What is going on here?
Yeah, we're one family. Like,
you're too sentimental,
and we have the common enemy. And if we cannot deal with it and address this issue together as one, we're in big problem.
You have to come with factual, factual points.
In Africa is to be our common enemy, because they're the one bleeding the continent dry. And it's not the Europeans anymore. You can't blame the Europeans after 60 years of independence in Ghana. And you blaming the Europeans. What's wrong with you? We had independence as Ghana before places like Singapore. And when we had an independence, we were on the same, our GDP was far higher than places like South Korea. Look where they are and look where Ghana is. And you continue to blame the white man. Blame our elite. As I said, when we had an independence, the black people that took over, it's only the faces, the color of the skin and the faces they change. They continue with what was happening. And that is why Africa is suffering. And that is why people are moving from one place to the other. And then the other people are, having an uproar about it. A place like Nigeria should be leading Africa. A place like Nigeria, let me finish, please. A place like Nigeria should be leading Africa. Should be leading. But look at where you are. And you come around, go to another man's country, call them lazy and call them names, and you expect people to
Don't
accept
repeat
it.
yourself. Stop repeating. We've heard that.
Look, migration within Africa is something that's going to happen. We cannot avoid that. I would never be able to sit here and say African people would never be able to. Look, we have Nigerian people to have rightly just said it. Nigerians are moving to Gambia. Nigerians are moving to the far west where I'm from. I know that. People are telling me this is not going to stop.
It's not going to stop, but it needs to be done the right way.
No, but I'm just.
It needs to be controlled.
Migration within the continent. I agree with that. Okay, this is why we're putting things in place. Remember the last time I said, our region in the Man River Union within Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea, they're trying to introduce some kind of system like a biometric system. This is up to the governments, these countries, to put those things in place for people who are migrating to that region. They need to put things in place. We cannot pick on each other as African brothers who are coming to, because one day things gonna go wrong in Ghana. You're gonna go to Nigeria. Things gonna go wrong in Sierra Leone. We wanna go to Guinea. It happened before. We had a great country. We had a civil war. We ran in Guinea. So we should stop this xenophobia between each other. It's not right. I don't like it. The only thing, and also the same way I hate tribalism, I argue. Anybody that brings xenophobia, tribalistic, I'll argue with you. Any kind of conversation we can argue with, I will cuddle you. I will love you. I will have an intellectual argument with you.
I mean,
but when it comes to the thing, I don't like it.
I don't want to come across that I'm against migration. That is never going to stop. That's part of human nature. It needs to be controlled.
In Africa, it will happen in Africa. It will continue to happen. Because the thing is, we cannot go after the continent. The whole world.
You see the point is,
1 second, the whole world. Look, listen, the whole world is shutting door on us. The whole world is closing the door on Africans.
Yeah, because we need to sort out the continent out.
Exactly.
The continent is in
it's about time. Yeah, exactly. It's about time us people of Africa in our countries to start with. We start fixing things. Also in our regions, we start fixing things. And then we can actually start looking into maybe long-term migration to other part of the region like East Africa, South Africa, and so on.
Listen, I think sometimes when we get into this conversation, we all get each other wrong. Nobody's against migration within Africa. It is going to happen. All other people, where they are saying it needs to be controlled. There needs to be discipline. Because if you have, as I said, Africa is being robbed by the elite of Africa now. And the resources that's often left behind for the ordinary people and the people at the bottom is very little. So when they find that masses of people moving from one place to the other, they will go up in uproar. Not that they hate the fellow black man. It's not that. It is the lack of resources. If you have a situation where the school buildings are not enough, the hospitals are not built, housing is not enough, no jobs, they're going to go up in uproar. And that's what it is. And we need to face that fact.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you. African always. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that there were 2 waves of Ghanaians going to South Africa.
Yeah.
And you were correct. There were actually 2 waves.
Yeah.
The first wave, and the same thing is true from Nigeria. The first wave is what we call the professionals, the teachers, the doctors, those who are recruited. And there were no issues. There were no issues whatsoever. Nobody was complaining. And then the second wave of immigrants, or what we call the informal sector, people who come illegally, people who come with low, who are direct competitors to the local population.
Yeah.
Direct competitors. In other words, nobody's going to complain if they're being taught by a Ghanaian teacher, right?
No.
Because you're getting something from them. They're teaching you something, or a doctor. They're healing you. So
exactly.
My question to you is this. Are you saying, just to be clear, right? Are you saying that those 2 groups, the second group, is the one where the issue is? Am I to say that that's correct?
I would say that in a way, yes, because the second group of migration, which is cut across board, where the people that went in, as you said, they were competing with the locals, and their resources are very meager. Look at the places where the South Africans are living. So when they saw that this group are coming in and it's not controlled, that is the problem. It needs to be disciplined and controlled. Do you understand?
I think what it is education as well. We need to, change the curriculum, and at least it make compulsory for migrants going outside to people's countries to actually learn something about the people, learn something about the country's history, and that will make a difference, at least if you know something, not to not to do certain things in a country.
God's gift.
Unfortunately, the problem here is that we always said about it. The people that cause it problem say Nigeria, really. I'm not an Igbo man. I think an Igbo man, when the two get comfortable, you understand me, you want to turn his area that is not his area that it came as a guest, you want to turn it to be a home. You understand me?
Right.
I'm not used my people are not used to that. You understand me? I've never left. I have to turn even Lagos that I'm staying even. It's not even my home. You understand me? I'm just a guest here. The day I will get tired, I will sell my property, I will pick my wife, I'll go back to my village, which I mostly even stay in my village nowadays. But when Igbo man go to this area,
don't give them that. Even though I understand where you're coming from, my brother.
Okay,
don't offer that. Because I know. Just don't offer that. To anybody. The only as Nigerians, let us.
Okay, we're all Nigerians. Okay.
Yes,
okay,
let us stand together. You see, and I know what you're saying, but that's not a conversation for the platform.
Even the South Africa they're talking about, right? I have nothing to do there. But when I say South Africa, the people, the way they talk about it, thought I watched the commentary, I watched some of all these things. They say this lady forgets that Nigeria and Ghana, they're working together in South Africa. They don't really get a job because the country is not offering their job because of their last name. So they have to maybe open a mechanic. They have to open a mechanic shop, right? They have to open a mechanic shop by bringing people cars there. Some of them have talent of this thing. Plus of South Africans.
You're going to run into a problem. You're going to run into a problem.
Hold on.
Nigerians in South Africa, the first set of Nigerians, and this is true. I keep saying this is true for every country. The first set of Nigerians.
Let me say this very quickly.
There were doctors.
Yes,
lawyers, there were
but do you know when they went? Those people went during apartheid. That's when the first. No, listen to me. Please, just listen to me a bit.
No,
please.
It's true they started earlier, but my point is, the issue is not with the professionals, guys.
No, it's not. We understand it.
It's the non-professionals. It's if you look at the people.
Wait. Let me try and give you some clarity.
Right, go ahead.
Please. You see, the first waves of Nigerians that were in South Africa were, as you said, from the professional classes. And we went especially to assist the Black South Africans. We were in all of the universities. There were South African teachers that I had here in the UK. And when I told them that I'm Nigerian, they would start remarking about their professor back in South Africa in their university was a Nigerian and what he was able to offer them in terms of confidence, in terms of knowledge. This is during the apartheid time. That's when we were there assisting. Not just what you hear about in the terms of we're a frontline country offering money and offering assistance in all kinds of ways. Put that to one side. The actual people were going there physically. They were living under apartheid as Black people. Yes, and they were offering a service. Now, this time when South Africa has its freedom, as far as Mandela is concerned, and as far as what has taken place, we all know, especially in West Africa, we all know that the freedom that we, or not freedom, the independence that we attained was not really independence. It was covered with all kinds of rubbish. As has been said, is that our elite took over from our colonizers, which is a disgusting thing that they have been able to do. It is only these three countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger recently, most recently has been the ones who have stood up and said, you know what, this independence that is fuckery. Let's stop it and somehow come together. And that's what they achieve.
Joga,
That's what they're trying to achieve.
Joga, Joga, Joga.
In this, please, just let me. I need to lay these foundations down so we can speak more accurately. In this, we the people have an understanding of where these particular leaders of the military persuasion are what they're trying to achieve. However, the politicians around the rest of West Africa are currently failing all of us. Now, where South Africa is concerned, and I scratch my head. One, many of them are asking us to return, and the ones who are asking us to return are the women. And those women are working. And what they have found is that there is so many things that they do that they can't complete without foreign nationals. So they need the foreign nationals in to continue what they're doing. Whereas the men somehow have been the ones who have stood up in the street, going to look for people in their business, beat them up, do all kinds of rubbish that makes no sense in order for them to feel satisfied as a man, I suppose. Maybe it's their ego. I don't know. However, what I do see is that they have been positioned. And in all this positioning that's taking place globally, we need to be looking after ourselves. We need to be understanding what's going on. And if we in the diaspora are so complex and so confused about what's going on the ground, how do we assist them? How do we make sure that they are conscious enough to make the right moves, at least within the people? Because the politicians are a lost bunch. The politicians are a
Uh,
lost bunch. The more,
I
let me
prefer
land.
the.
The man, please let me land. The more we conscientize our people back home, the more difficult it would be for the politicians to just manage them anyhow. I land.
Yeah, okay, see, for me, I prefer the military regime more because those ones were far more nationalistic than what we see now
Right.
with these politicians. These politicians they are like sickness to us as West Africans as a whole. You understand me? They all fail us. Go and be banking money in England while you're not staying there. Is the chicken in England far more sweeter than the natural chicken in Africa? Only God knows. Is the weather that will eat your bone later? You start having hip replacement than the hot weather in Africa that your blood continue running, even just 5 kilometer walk. I don't understand why they're doing all these things. And if we don't take that, what you see in South Africa will happen in the whole of West Africa. Nigeria is boiling
Yeah.
slowly. You understand me?
Yeah. No.
Nigeria is
See,
boiling slowly.
Ola, you're
There's a
making a
fire.
point because I am one of those people. You see me, I listen. I even though I come here and argue most of the time with some Nigerian brothers, but I am one of those people in Sierra Leone who grew up with Nigerians. We gave Nigerian people home. My best friends are people of Nigerian descent. Who are Sierra Leoneans. Okay, we are good at accommodating people, but some of my neighboring countries, unfortunately, uh, they are not as accommodating as you think they
You
are.
can't say
Like,
that because
you
you
understand?
cannot say that.
Yeah,
You can't say
yeah.
that.
But I'm
The
just
whole
saying.
of West
No,
Africa
V,
live in
V,
each
V.
other's country.
No,
I,
no, no,
I,
that's true.
I gotta read these super chats and I gotta pass the mic. Say James, thank you for the $5 holla. What the hell is causing disruption opening a business? Sleepy Trump, go ahead, then I can pass to Joe. Go ahead, Sleepy Trump.
Okay. How's everybody?
Hey, guys.
How's everybody, man?
Yeah, the body good, the
uh,
body good. Long time.
yeah, Superman. This is a very if conversation, right? It proves to us how hypocrisy we are. Because when you look at the South the South Africans, right, especially the black ones, right? I do not approve what they're doing at all, right? But some of us behave very similar in our own countries, the same way, very similar. Tell people, oh, they not from this country, they are invaders and stuff like that. Even though they've been there for like how many since what the at least the what 17 or the 14th centuries. But you have certain people that come from West Africa telling other ethnicity they not from that country. So then what happens then if you had opportunity with ammo? You probably gonna unalive every single of those people eventually one of these days. So yeah, so to me, I feel where where they're coming from as well. Especially like the Black South Africans. I don't agree with these people at all because I know it's not every single one of them. There's good good amount of them, but we do have our people in West Africa that have the same thinking like that. That for some reason the white man is the king. So if you believe that the white man is the king, the white man should always control us. So what's the difference then with the Black South Africans doing the same thing? Because obviously when you look at it, they're protecting what the white man gives them, the scrums. But you still come up here and say, oh, like the white man is the good guy, it's everything to us. We should bow our heads to them. So then how can you talk bad about the Black South Africans then? That's what I don't understand. But then when you have leaders in Africa that want to take Africa forward independently, the way it should, you have Africans that come up here every day and say, oh, all these, twist all these other things and all that. That's what I don't understand though. But this is a warning call because African population is growing. So if we don't fix our
Nigerian population is the biggest problem. It's going to be a big problem in South Africa.
If we don't
it's
fix
going to be a big problem.
It could be a big problem, or it could be a big plus. It just depends on how you think and how you organize.
It could be a blessing, but it's how it's how it's organized, and
it could be a big plus if it's organized.
Let Bar make his point. Yeah, go on, finish your points. Yeah.
In life, right? There's a warning, that God gives you. I don't know, or what you believe in, but certain things, there's a warning that you get. Just like if you have a car, right? If you have a house, the structure, there's a warning sign you get, even a roof or something like that. And then when you don't take care of it, in about a couple more years, that problem becomes 10 times worse. So to me, this what's going on right now in the continent of Africa. We slowly getting warned, warning, right? So it's up to us now to look at the problem and then try to fix it the best way. But if we do ignore this problem, population will grow. Kids are like, that's like 10 years old. They came up with a society with cell phones and everything. So they're not like, some of us, that grew up, whatever time, or some of the elders as well. So it is a warning that if we don't get rid of these corrupt politicians, especially the ones that for sure, they're not about fixing nothing. They're not about fixing nothing. If we don't get rid of these people, I guarantee you, just because you live in America, just because you live in Europe, nothing like that. That house you build, or whatever that you think you're doing, when them boys are ready for you, they're gonna burn it down. When they burn it down, you're not gonna have nothing. And you see how the West is going about it, right? Everything is expensive in the West. Everything is expensive. Just like in Europe, especially when it comes to energy. Everything is expensive. When you see all this screaming and hollering, it's because of the economy. People are not comfortable the way they used to be. I remember when with the war in Iraq or something like that. The economy was great. It was great. Nobody wasn't fussing and hollering. Oh, immigrant, immigrant this, immigrant that, right? Even though the United States government was spending tremendous amount of money, but it wasn't affecting us at all. So fast forward about 25 years later, look how people are going after people that's not responsible for their problems. But since they look at you as an immigrant now, they think you're the problem. Because before, they had opportunities that was just out there. So people that live in the Western world, don't think you are better than the Africans that live in Africa. Because what goes around will come back after you. Because I truly believe that I'm gonna be quiet. This is a warning sign that if we don't come together and put our differences aside, support
Let me come in there as you tail off. I understand. Okay, if I can, because I was first, please. Now, what you warn about is interesting, but I've got a few things to put to us all on the panel. You see, whilst the world is spinning and we're here in the West and we're taking advantage of what we can and suffering under the pressure of being in the West, because as we all know, being in the West ain't no easy thing. I, for one, don't think I'm better than anybody in Nigeria or in Africa.
Absolutely not.
many of the ways that they are living, I would prefer to be living like them. Many of the ways. Having said that, you know, we always try to believe that we are a paragon of either organization or how things should be and blame the white man and all that. You know, we're speaking about taking away the um, the borders and being a Africa. Any of us that we are ready
Someone
for
needs
that.
to mute, man.
Me one, I don't think we're anywhere near ready to become borderless societies. Do you? Because are you with me in terms of what?
Are you saying we're not going to have the African Union passport?
Well, you see,
We
that's
shouldn't,
one thing.
not right
What I'm
now.
saying, my
I
friend,
disagree
let
with
me be clear
borderless.
to him. Well, let me be clear.
Mm.
With all these problems that we are speaking about on this panel, there are a country like Nigerians, we have problems with other Nigerians, let alone when we are now interacting in other people's countries as a whole. When we can't respect the land and the terrain of the people that we are on, because there is a problem on both sides. Whilst the xenophobia is going on in South Africa, as has been mentioned here, there are ways that people disrespect the fact that you're in somebody else's terrain. And if you're disrespecting the fact that you're in somebody else's terrain, how can there be a borderless condition? Be serious. It's not just your dream that is going to happen. These things are practical, which is why when I speak to black people, I always think that you have a mind that tells you that things are easy. You have a mind that tells you that 400 years hasn't actually happened. You have a mind that tells you that, oh, as soon as the white people go, everything's going to be hunky-dory. It's a foolish mind, I'm afraid. It's not how to think. It's not strategic thinking. It's not practical
Yeah.
thinking.
So you're saying
My point is one thing. My point is Nigerian population might be a curse or might be a benefit. For
Well,
me,
that's what I
I
said. I've
think
already said that.
yeah, okay, that. So for me, in the far West Africa, I said this before. It's like I saw this coming. Okay, if you go back to a few tapes, a diners, everyone is witness. I said that would be a time that will come. People in the far West Africa will have to introduce some kind of immigration policies to see how they could accommodate some Nigerian
Now,
coming from Nigeria.
well, there you
Okay,
go. I mean,
and
that at least is a
yeah,
policy, you know. But
yeah.
what I'm saying,
No, let me finish. Let me finish. No, let me finish now. I didn't interrupt. So that would be the case. But however, that's all depend on the cohesion that will that will happen between the two groups because I can guarantee you, like some of these things that is happening in Nigeria, in some other African countries, will affect how Nigerians are seen in the far west, and that could affect how they're accommodated, and also how those Nigerians people manage to settle in those new countries. And I
let me
think
say this
for me,
to you
go ahead.
personally. It's not. Sorry, brother. Sorry, I know you got a
Hold on, man.
question.
Hold
I
on.
beg your
Jordan,
pardon.
give me a second. Let me
Yeah.
finish my point.
All right.
If
All
you
right.
look at what Africa is saying makes perfect sense, and let me tell you why it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Nigerian GDP, it's roughly $900. If you look at the Ghanaian GDP, it's $2,300. If you look at the South African GDP, it's $6,000. Now, with 220 million people, we are going to have Nigerians moving across the continent. It's just a fact of life. We have to get used to that. Now, it's for the host countries to make sure that they put things in place so that when immigrants come, whether they're high-skilled immigrants or low-skilled immigrants, that there are systems in place to accommodate. Because if they don't, as in the case of South Africa, they didn't. And what happens now is, as I said, the issue is not with the skilled immigrants in Africa, whether they're Nigerian or they're Kenyan or Ghanaian. The issue is the lower income people.
Indeed, you're correct. Both of you have said things.
Let me just finish the point.
Wait. I need to come in very
Let
quickly.
the man land.
So I can deal with the two things.
No, let the man land. Let the man land.
Django, let him land.
Like,
Let him land.
you guys are
Jeez,
talking.
man.
I
Give me a
mean,
chance
you
to
gotta
finish the point.
let me come in
The
also.
point is, if governments, because we talk about the African Union passport, the one passport or the borderless, it is incumbent upon the governments to accommodate for these two groups of people, these two groups of immigrants.
I do understand. I do understand.
If they
You know,
don't, as in the case of South Africa, what you're going to have is, because the average South African, there are lots of Americans, by the way, moving to South Africa, Black Americans, and nobody has an issue with them because they're not competing with the local people. They don't see them as competitors, and so therefore they're not going to even make an issue with it. They see the Zimbabwean, they see the Nigerian, they see the Ghanaian, the lower level one, as direct competitors. And it's up to governments. That's why we have Brexit, because the poor white English people think, hey, these immigrants are coming and taking all my jobs. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you are at the bottom of the totem pole, governments have to make accommodations. Otherwise, the people will take it upon themselves, and you have what you have.
I understand.
And just
wait, before, please, so I don't forget what I've got to say, please. What you said is correct. What you said and what both of you have said is correct and very accurate. And I would like to put this to you, that the people who are in government, who should be speaking about this issue, they are not. This is what is incredulous. And this is why I want all of us to take into considerations. They're not having these kinds of conversations. They're being as stupid as stupid can be. Now, Nigerians, particularly, they're all over West Africa and have been all over West Africa for the last God knows how many hundreds of years. We're in Sierra Leone, we're in Liberia, we're in Ghana, we're in Ivory Coast. There's a million of us in Ivory Coast. We've been in Gambia for ages. We've been in Senegal for ages. Yorubas particularly. Yeah. You understand? So, and then the rest of Africa, as you said, the first wave of professionals are everywhere in Africa, of Nigerians. Now, where you speak about the great population that we have in Nigeria, there is going to be an expelling. However, there doesn't need to be an expelling because Nigeria is extremely rich. But the thing is, it is not being practically and purposefully run. It is being run strictly for the elites. In my village, my own small part of Nigeria, there is about 4 worldwide minerals that we can sell around the world and make that whole state comfortable. However, we ain't doing shit. We're not doing none of it. We have bitumen, we have diamond, we have gold, we have oil. And then we have agriculture, which is fantastic. We have great forests. It's between a three or four states next to us. That's where there's forestry still in the nation.
Hey, guys, let me pass the mic to Dro. Then we got to close out.
You got to close out, man. Shit, we just started the conversation, man.
Got you. Go ahead, Joe.
All right. I appreciate, giving me the opportunity to make my 2 cents. Listen, even on this platform, it's a sample. It's just me. It's a sample of what the problem is. Understand? If there is any problem at all. If I want to talk about it, I don't think our geographical area as in Africa has a problem. The problem we got to deal with is, number one, who we are, our attitude. What kind of people are we? Secondly, we don't have the temerity to take dissenting views. We need to see ourselves being right, politically right. See, listen, if we can we lay out on the background and learn as we move. We don't have to be the loudest one in the room most of the time. Listen, I love Nigeria. Back in the day, I used to go to Nigeria every year, spend a couple of months in Nigeria and come back. Listen, the people there are wonderful people. I'm a Ghanaian. Let me just put it on record. Listen, whatever we do as Ghana and Nigeria, it is a fun thing. It's a love thing. Last time I was trying to, correct some stuff on this one. But I think sometimes we take this thing. Listen, there was a time Nigeria naira was more than $1. Listen, we have to understand what we are dealing with right here. The problem is that, listen, sometimes Most Nigerians don't accept the truth. Things aren't the same way they are in a couple of years ago. The leaders like to misinform the grassroots people. So a lot of them think, oh, except for Nigeria, we are the biggest everywhere we go. We are the brainiest everywhere we go. We are the solution for the world. Listen, the generation that were in late years in the 70s, in the 60s, are not the same generations. We have to start accepting that we have problems. Understand? Somebody said if we are able to fix Nigeria, we have dealt with half of Africans' problem already. And how do we do that? Until you accept a problem. Listen, we cannot fix that. Listen, Nigeria as people need to understand that, listen, most part of them are living behind mentally, intellectually. Listen, Joe, you had a benefit to live outside. I can see that you're thinking advancement. You are making your thinking is in a different level. But have you thought about those born in a village or let's say Ogun State somewhere? All they know they wake up to is disease, poverty, and all of that. How can their brain function? How can they see the light? Understand? So it is not about all the time Nigeria has done this, Nigeria does it. We only keep on lashing out on the bad behavior and entitlement, like this kind of how do you call it? It's not inferiority in complex, but it's superiority complex. Nigeria is no longer the economic powerhouse, even though they have numbers. It's no longer the economic powerhouse as it used to be in the 60s, where a lot of Ghanaians have to go to Nigeria to fend. And as you were saying, the first set of Nigerians that were skilled workers, the teachers who went and teach in Nigeria. Understand? But we got to go back home. And if you watch, so what we have to do, we have to put our minds together, accept where we have failed as a nation. I'm talking about us in Nigeria. We don't have to keep on gaslighting the people that Nigeria is the giant of Africa. Now, yes, your number should be an advantage. America is about 300 or 250. 300 in population.
300. Yeah.
Is that a blessing or a curse? If you have 250 people, it was an advantage to take over to work a country out.
Well, look at China. China's in its billions. Exactly. Is it an advantage or is it a disadvantage? So I get your sentiment.
It's a mindset problem. It's a mindset problem. And unfortunately,
look, if it's not for Ghana, Ivory Coast and Senegal in the far west, trust me, majority of West African people will suffer because these people have done so much accommodating other West Africans, giving them job and giving them expertise.
Liberia. You forgot to mention
No, Liberia is not. Liberia is in fact, Liberia is one of the most.
The context you are talking about. Okay, go ahead.
Now as a Ghana, Ivory Coast and Senegal have done so well economically in terms of hosting other people in the last few years and also accommodating and also helping.
Very
people,
true.
Because very, very, very important region. So I do give those three countries, Senegal, Ghana, and Ivory Coast, loads of kudos for what they're doing. Liberia is the worst country in West Africa. It's very poor. In fact, you can't come. Let's leave that alone.
At the same time, we those that have come to the point whereby we are seeking for better for Africa. We have to talk in the direction that will bring other African in.
If you come to Nigeria, we have a lot of immigrants from Niger.
Yes, I agree that also.
A lot of people.
All over West Africa.
We know
all
the
over
people.
West Africa.
Nigeria is not the people who ask where you coming from. Who are you? You understand me? Maybe through talking to you, or we can see your style with are you from Nigeria? If you say no, oh, okay, where you from? They will be happy to know you. If you make it cloth, we will
So
patronize you.
let me
That's
just
it. Hold
end
on.
my
Hold
let
on,
me
hold
just
on, hold on. But what I see now is this. You see, when you say this better road, people migrate in time. When you say people, Nigerians are migrating, you have to understand, for us, it's a small part of eastern region of Nigeria, which is the Igbo people. You never see the Hausari like that migrate from Nigeria.
No, that's true. It's
You
true.
know, the Yoruba are very less that come to Ghana.
No, the Yorubas are there in Sierra Leone, Gambia, Senegal.
Yeah, those areas. The ones
yes.
that
I
move,
think Hausas and Yorubas are there, but they're not so loud.
the one that move, the one that move and want to cause problems. Sometimes even we try to tell them at home, please, Mona stay on our place sometime. Mona no go the go person
Brother,
place.
you be
I want
Benin
you
boy.
to be home.
Are you from Benin? Sorry to
Yeah,
ask.
I'm an
No,
adult boy,
man.
man. Benin boy.
Okay.
I
You
mean,
understand
Okay,
me?
get me. You
you have
see,
a man.
I was trying to
Listen, you
not
have a
have,
man in Ghana.
excuse
No,
me,
I
madam.
don't want to divide.
Do you know?
I don't want to divide. But
Yeah,
if you see this
I
South Africa
was trying
thing,
my best to
apart
try
from
and bear.
jargon,
There was one guy
I'm
on
normally
that one
listen.
idiot by the name of Country Stupid.
No.
He was saying that I'm trying to say that the hate between Yoruba and Igbo, but that's not it. I just still want us
No,
as
Hey,
Nigerians.
guys, we got to close out. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe.
Thank you so much for
Have a
joining, man.
peace.
You can
God,
say
tiny,
Oliver.